Okay. And we are live. Standard disclaimer. This is not made for children. This will probably include strong language and may include adult themes.
Fucking A.
Yeah, I hate that I have to do that to start every stream now, but
Well, oh, that's right. Hold on. I gotta shut down the stream on my end because it's echoing.
yep, same
Whoops.
here. Unfortunately, YouTube won't let me mute it until after I've started the stream, so that always happens.
So, hi.
Hello, people. We have BionicDance with us tonight. So, just kind of checking in with everybody, see how you survived Christmas.
Yeah, I had a very boring Christmas except for all the streams I was on, and that's fine. Not a fan of December. So,
Yeah, well, I did say I set up the marathon streaming as a large part as a way to avoid dealing with my family.
well, my parents are right now in Mexico. I actually have not spent a Christmas with them in a very long time because when they're not there, they're in Vermont, which is 3,000 miles away. So.
Yep, opposite side of the continent for you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's fine. I never had that whole family sucks problem with Christmas, like a lot of people seem to. But I've never liked how cold it is. I've never liked how dark it is. I've never liked my December birthday. And I just usually am waiting for the whole frickin' month to be over.
Well, I agree with you. It sucks having your birthday so close to Christmas because I know the stuff you've said about people, cheaping out and claiming one present is for both.
Oh, don't get me started.
Yeah. Well, my fiance's birthday was in January, and people did that to her all the time.
Yeah, I actually have a cousin. My cousin Jessie was born on Christmas, and I feel bad for her. I remember one Christmas we're spending with the extended family, and it wasn't until like mid afternoon that someone went, "Oh, Jessie, happy birthday."
Yep.
Oh, it was so horrible. I felt so bad for her. So on Christmas Day, I made sure to message her on Facebook because,
Yep.
yeah.
Let's see. In the side chat, we've got Doc Fiercing, Tria, and Pirate
Mm-hmm.
Kitty. Well, Pirate Kitty, why aren't you in here?
Oh, yeah, Pirate Kitty. Hey, you. What's up?
Yeah, Pirate Kitty, really helped a lot with pulling the stream together and getting on Discord and recruiting extra people at the last minute. Because I couldn't quite come up with enough people to fill all the slots, but then it's like we were filling it up late at night then. Well, a lot of people were asleep, and then when people woke up, we had like 3, 4 more people asking to be in on it. It's like, well, we've already filled the schedule.
Well, what can we say? Streaming is popular, I guess.
Well, and that's what you get for sleeping.
Exactly. Yes. So, maybe it's just me and my stupid sense of humor, but every time someone talks about Discord, I'm like, oh, a little bit of Discord, a little bit of that cord. So, yeah, I'm weird and I know it. And it's often part of my charm and sometimes the reason people want to kill me.
Well, I'm very fond of puns, so I appreciate the humor you put into things.
That helps because, I try to be a pundit, but usually I'm more of a punk who should be punched or punted, punished somehow, put in the penitentiary because my puns are pungent.
Yeah, now when you do that and you come up with a whole string of them together, that's, I can pop up with a few random ones. I don't know how you managed to string them up like that.
Well, I've actually had that one memorized for a while, but, because I mean, it does help if someone's never met me before and we get talking about senses of humor. Having that at the ready is often handy. Kind of like every now and then someone asks me to do Yakko's World,
Yeah, I remember a video where you did that one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
It's
there's Pirate
fun.
Kitty coming in. Hello.
Pirate Kitty, how you doing?
Hello.
Like, what's up? What's new? What's happening, you?
I've just been sitting in bed all day.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I laid in bed most of the day myself.
I sat in
Uh,
this chair most of the day.
I would have sat up, but it made me dizzy.
Oh dear.
You,
Well, not really.
you sound ill.
I've been ill since like 4 days ago. It's just
Okay,
getting
then you,
worse.
I was gonna say, then you sound worse.
It's the
Hey,
the, the
Mathpig, thanks
coughing.
for joining us.
Hello, hello.
Oh,
How are
hello.
you?
Yeah, Pirate Kitty's been coming down with something for the last
This is
few days and needs to get rest. So,
yeah.
Well,
That's why I slept until noon, sat in bed and watched YouTube, had dinner, fell asleep, woke up like 2 hours ago, and I'm like, I've been asleep all day now. I can't sleep anymore.
well, you know
Yeah,
what you ought
that's
to do.
exactly why I'm awake at 6 o'clock in the morning, Pirate Kitty. I slept for like 4 hours after dinner today.
Well, you know what you really ought to do is you ought to find a source of inspiration for like art or writing or something, because then you'll be coming up with something.
I'm loving your
uh,
new icon, Purple. Your whole new thing you've got going.
The
oh
surfing triceratops.
yeah, that's actually the transforming Triceratops was drawn by Trey Baldwin, and Bad Temper Badger animated it for me.
Is it, in fact, more than meets the eye?
Oh yeah,
There's
Oh,
things he can transform into you don't even know, Bionic.
Sorry, say that again.
I says there's things that man can transform into you don't even know what's going on.
Okay.
Sorry, Irish humor.
Mm. I was just trying to figure out how that might relate to the TV show.
well, there was the Pretender series.
Well, there was also the Dinobots.
Yep.
okay, okay. Speaking of Transformers, never made like you guys have all seen the movies with Shia LaBeouf, right?
No, well, I saw one of them, and I've done my best to forget it.
Was
Yeah,
it the one where he tries to get where he's getting with a girl and she turns out to be a Decepticon, or was that the first? Was that
I
the
saw
second one?
I saw the first one, and like I say, I really don't remember it.
The start of the second one, the second one starts out with him in college, and there's this girl trying to get him, you know, and it turns out she's a Decepticon. And I'm just like, wait a minute, if they could turn into that accurate of a person, why didn't they do that from the very beginning?
I don't know. I just
yeah.
know
I
that the
I really
only
don't like.
live action Transformers movie I've enjoyed so far is Bumblebee. And Michael Bay had next to nothing to do with that one. He certainly didn't direct it. And that's probably why I liked it, or at least a large portion of it.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen I think three of the Michael Bay ones, and really did not like any of them as far as what he did to, the lore, the mythology.
Mm-hmm. In Bumblebee, they actually, like, the Transformers actually looked like G1 Transformers from the cartoon. Like,
Yeah,
they completely revamped the CGI to look like what I grew up with. So that was happy making.
yeah. The first movie was kind of like, okay, this is passable. I'll give him a second chance. Yeah, giving him a second chance was a mistake because they really went downhill from there.
Yeah, was the second one with the two gangster like guys?
Ugh.
Oh, I
I
can't
don't even
even.
remember what order they were anymore. I just,
That
I
was that was what did it for me. Like the first one was okay, but then when they got to the point where they had the two guys that were like they were trying to be too um oh, how do I phrase this? Too hip,
mm,
mm,
and it just was like no.
Yeah, it was kind of like when I saw that cinematic abortion they tried to pass off as a Tron sequel, and for some reason Daft Punk is in the computer world. I'm like, boy, did you ever just break Tron lore for me.
Yeah.
And you know, I got to tell you, I cannot stand Shia LaBeouf. There's just something about him that rubs me the wrong way. But it seemed like for a really long time, Hollywood was trying really hard to push him as the new teen heartthrob, like force us to accept him as the new teen boy. And I hated
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, just like Justin Bieber. It's
Mhm.
like nobody really liked him, but they were trying to convince everyone that he was loved.
Mhm. They do that a lot too. I mean, like, you remember how that stupid Smash Mouth song was in every movie for a couple of years?
Yeah.
Oh, I am so done with that song. Like, I didn't really like it a lot when I first heard it, but I grew to hate it after being like pounded with it for years. They kept putting it in everything, and I was just so sick of it.
Yeah. Well, that's part of how they kind of create hit music.
Yeah.
It doesn't become a hit because people like it. It becomes a hit because people get so used to it because they just play it to death.
And that's what I hate is the whole idea of like the manufactured celebrities. The people
Mm.
who have no real talent, but they just hype them so much that they become celebrities.
Boy bands and girl bands. Like what little I ever heard of the Spice Girls, I couldn't stand. What little I heard of NSYNC, I couldn't stand. And there's about, and I know I feel almost shameful about this, but I actually like about 20% of what One Direction put out, but the other 80% can't stand it, just like the others.
Backstreet Boys is back. Can't say anything wrong about that. Just letting you say.
Oy. Yeah. Oh, just watch. There'll be a New Kids on the Block reunion in a few years.
Oh no, I grew up being a goth bionic, but it's like a
Mhm.
guilty pleasure.
So-
You have to like Backstreet Boys are back. You just have to.
I
But if they
don't
bring him back,
actually.
do they?
What I hate more than that because at least the boy bands and the girl bands they have like a shtick. You know, they're doing some music, they're doing some dancing, they've got a pretty look. What I hate is people who are famous for nothing.
But that's basically what bands are now. Everything's auto-tuned and done in the computer. If you can interview well and you have nice boobs for a woman and a nice ass and a well-looked face for a man,
Yeah.
if you can appeal to every demographic out there, then they will auto-tune your voice to suit that. Music, as with everything else, has become capitalistic as well. It's all about making money.
Right, but
I can put that in one sentence, and you've heard it before. Video killed the radio star.
First video ever on MTV, though, I think.
Mhm.
but I'm
It's
talking
ironic.
like Kim Kardashian's, Paris
Yeah.
Hilton. Like they're not musicians, they're not actresses. Kim Kardashian is famous for what? A sex tape? Paris
Yeah.
Hilton is famous because she's rich.
Could you picture Lemmy from Motorhead being famous now?
Or like half of the Rolling Stones at least.
Yeah, it wouldn't be possible. It doesn't matter that they can play musical instruments. It doesn't matter that they can sing. It doesn't matter that then people bought fucking Motorhead's got like 20 plus albums out. Then people would not be sellable now because look at him, and it just wouldn't work. Just
Well,
wouldn't work.
Steven Tyler comes to mind,
Well,
you
I
can
see that a lot on YouTube, and there's channels that have like 250,000 subscribers, and I try to watch something, and it's like, yeah, the only reason she's got subs is she shows a lot of cleavage.
Mm-hmm.
You're in Lucy Luxor streams the odd time, Purple, yes?
Occasionally, I actually don't know her that well.
Yeah, that was put forth to her that she would make more subscribers if she were, more revealing tops. And she's a big enough lady, so she has substantial breastage. And she, she's down to earth. She's more realistic, and I think that it would be better for her to tell people to go fuck themselves than show breasts.
I wish.
Oh yeah, no,
I
I
wish
agree.
more
I'm
female streamers
willing to
would do
bet
that.
my subscriber numbers would be at least double what they are if I looked like Jacqueline Glenn.
Yeah.
They did a whole thing to prove drama. There's another subscriber, I think Purple also knows him, God the Good One, and he has a teddy bear that he sends around the world to his actual subscribers, and they post it between each other. It's called Dave the Bastard.
Yep.
And she pretended that she had got Dave the Bastard and she was going to set fire to him if she didn't get a God the Good One mask. She got death threats. She got this, she got the other. She got absolute abuse. But she also gained a shitload of subscribers, and likes and views and everything went through the roof. It just shows the drama. Like, the fucking bear was in America. It was all a joke. But it just proves the drama. It gets clicks, gets views. There's certain things that
I
work
was
in
trying to
YouTube
get
and
him
certain
to
things that don't.
send Dave the Bastard to me in October, so I could have taken him to my last gaming convention.
You know what I'd actually love to do? Because there is freeware deep fake software out there, and I would love to find someone who has a lot more subscribers and is a lot more attractive than me, and do a mutual deep fake where like they look like me on my channel, I look like them on their channel, and we see if the like views and likes stay the same. And based on how we each look, what happens?
Yeah, working the algorithm is very interesting. Mr. Atheist proved that. I tag every video, and I recently again mentioning Lucy. She had Omegon on. Purple, did you notice him that was on? He is he's got something like 60,000 subscribers. He does political videos on Brexit and things like that, and she randomly got an interview with him, and I told her to make sure that she tagged one of her videos politics, and she was like, well, I don't discuss politics. And I'm like, yes, but he does. So if somebody types his name in plus politics, you will pop up on the list and get views.
Yeah, I saw the stream where you were talking about that.
Yeah, it's about working the algorithm. And
I mean, I mentioned once the idea of putting the name of really, like the names, plural, of the really popular YouTubers in my tags and see what happens.
But if you didn't have them actually on your video or part of your video, then it would be, classified under one of them YouTube algorithm bullshit clickbait things.
I guess, but I mean, if their name wasn't actually in the title or anywhere in the description, it was just in the tags, I mean, it's hardly clickbaity because people aren't seeing the thing that would trigger them to click it.
Well, for you, I think you're how many, if you don't mind me asking, like, but relative to everybody else on screen here, you absolutely destroy us. You're like,
True, but there's people out there who honestly have content that's at least like the same quality as mine, if not lesser, who have tons more subscribers.
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is relative to us. If you uploaded a video with somebody's name in the tag, if I did it, it wouldn't really work. If Purple did it, he might get a wee bit. If Kitty did it, it would get nothing because she has no videos. If you did it, you would probably get 5,000 views, 5,000 clicks within the first 24 hours, purely down to your numbers and how the algorithm actually promotes you, though.
Yeah.
So what would work for you would work different for me, would work different for Purple, which Kitty doesn't even care that it works.
I think that the algorithm has been screwing me in some way, but it might be my fault because I'm using the wrong tags or my description has something in it that YouTube doesn't like or something. But I mean, I've had people tell me that my videos never, ever show up in their recommended videos ever.
Well, yeah. If you're
good for that one,
including, lesbian, LGBT, or atheist in the tags, that's going to kick it down.
Yeah, tags will kick down as well as kick up.
And it really sucks because it's like,
you know what YouTube doesn't have? Like when you say, here's my video, this is the category that it's going to be in. You get like entertainment, people in blogs, et cetera, et cetera. What they don't have is a philosophy category.
Put everything as entertainment. Put absolutely everything as entertainment. It's the most widely used, most widely accepted. When you search for it, it's the most. It gets tapped more than everything else.
worth a try. I know that for a while I was putting like politics or something, and then
TubeBuddy is also very, very good. If you don't have the TubeBuddy app on your phone or the TubeBuddy app involved in your actual Chrome,
I have
yeah, you can test your tags and it gives you a rate back at how good they are.
Yeah, I've been doing that. It doesn't help. You know.
Well, seriously, for as long as Kate's been doing this, yeah, she should have a much bigger subscriber base.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. There are
she's
times
been at this, what, 12, 14 years?
About 12 years, maybe a little less. But seriously, sometimes I do, because most of my haters are telling me I'm ugly. I mean, rarely do they tell me I'm stupid. It's usually just, oh my God, you're so gross. So.
Yeah, but there's also that playground thing about, boys saying that to women that they really want to get with. And, there really is a lot of that, if they find you attractive and know they don't have a chance, they have to start making, just
sour grapes
remarks.
No, I'm not gonna.
And also, it's a really common insult to be used because lots of women do put too much stock in how they look, and so somebody calling you ugly, it's just them trying to be hurtful.
And I don't want to be downgrading.
I don't really care if they call me ugly. What matters to me is the fact that it might keep some people who would otherwise subscribe away. That's why I used an avatar for years.
Yeah, what I have to say now, I don't want to be downgrading to a certain person I'm going to mention because they put up very good content. They are very, very good at what they do. They've been on multiple channels, shown what they are. But Shannon Q got an awful lot of subscribers before she put up one view. I would say that 70% of her original subscribers before she put a video up were probably male. Because she is the standard typical. Well, I could be wrong. I'm pulling numbers from this guy.
I think with Shannon, you're kind of off base there.
Yeah,
because I think she got most of her subscribers because she had been doing, guesting videos for PurpleRhymesWithOrange.
Yeah, but she got around. No, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
she was
but
I mean,
she had been doing a lot of videos, that she was only shown as a cartoon avatar, and that was collecting
I have no demographics or no statistics to back up.
Okay, but wait.
Guys,
Kate, go.
The vast majority of my subscribers are also male, and I'm sure most of them are not attracted to this.
86% of my subscribers are male. I doubt very much that they're attracted to me.
Well, also, Kate, you're in a different situation because, you're very out about being a lesbian. So it's like, even if the guys are attracted to you, they know they can't think of you in that way.
I don't know. Sometimes
I just want to clarify that I have a lot of respect for Shannon Q before anybody thinks anything wrong about me. I think she puts out very good content. She is fantastic. I just think with the internet and with the,
yeah, well, that's what I mean. I think she got a lot of her initial subscribers because she was only being shown as a drawing, as an illustration. But she was making it clear that how smart she was and that she really did her research.
Yeah. And she did do a lot of, like, if you search her name, you'll find her popping up on YouTube in dozens of different places. She was on Non Sequitur. She was on PurpleRhymesWithOrange's show. She did interviews with Cy10 Bergen, Kate, and Ray Comfort, and all this.
Do you know where she'll not be? On fucking the pigsty now after this video.
I don't know. I mean, I think another thing is that I haven't been on a lot of people's channels. I mean, I saw recently PurpleRhymesWithOrange put up a big old picture that was like 3 years, thanks guys, and had all of the avatars of the people that had been on his show. And I actually had a friend say, where the hell are you? And I'm like, I was never on his show. So, I mean, there are times I have to say I feel a little bit snubbed by the current YouTube atheist community. It's not even necessarily a deliberate thing. I think they just forget I'm there. And yeah.
Well, I would absolutely love to have you on, and totally not the fact that I've only had one female guest on my show and need more boobs and women and faces, but Yeah, we definitely need more powerful women in the pigsty kicking ass and telling people what to do.
I think part of it with you, Kate, is that you have been doing it for a long time, and so since you were one of the originals, you accidentally kind of get lumped in with the originals that went shit. You know, like
Feed
the
into the
Amazing
background.
Atheist and Dusty Smith when he was the anti SJW and now super SJW, and I think that's part of the I think that's part of the problem is like when your name comes up, you come up as an older name, and then they're like, oh, because like there was a thread the other day where somebody was talking about that, and he's like, and even Drew, I think Drew, GM Skeptic, was like, yeah, a lot of the older ones are shit now, or something. Not in that many words, but basically saying, oh no, this is a new batch, and so there's this division of the old batch and the new batch.
To answer what Tony Designs asked, I have been on Discord, but to be perfectly honest, I don't understand the appeal of it. I look at it and I find it really confusing where if you go to one Discord page, just one Discord page, it has so many categories, sub forums, and all this stuff. And then you go to another one, it's got just as many, if not more. And I'm like, how do you keep track of all this stuff? How do you even find somebody to talk to?
The trick with it is when you join the server, you get alerts left, right, and center. And the very first thing you do when you get an alert is you go into notification settings and you set it to only your name, and then you move on. And then after about a day or so, you will realize you'll get only the channels that you want to listen to, as in the general chat, as in what videos are going. Or
yeah, that's what I do.
am slightly biased because Discord be my bitch for like the last year, so I'm slightly biased. I live in Discord, but it is simple once you get the hang of it, and it's down to the notifications. You don't want, like, if there's 20 channels, 30 channels, 40 channels in that one server, whenever the message pops up, you just hit the top 3 dots and you go notifications, fuck off.
But what? Okay, well, why would there be a notification about yourself if you're not participating, though?
No, but that's
somebody
what I'm
might
saying.
be trying to pull you into the conversation. Like
every channel automatically pings you when you join. It's automatically set to ping on once you join. So when it pings you the first time, you go into it and go fuck off. Like, you don't want a notification from, Cisco is better than or Picard is better than Cisco. You don't want to be notified for that channel because Cisco is clearly better than Picard. So you just ignore that channel. And
it's just so that you know.
Why would you have gone there in the first place?
Because when you join the server, you automatically get alerted for every single channel in the server, and some servers have 20 channels.
Oh, it's so stupid. I don't know why this would be something I'd want to even touch.
It's very good because it's like chat servers. It's like you can create your own community of friends, your own community of people you talk to. If people are assholes, you don't have to talk to them. You only interact with the people that you want to. And it's 24 hours a day across the world. It is quite good.
But it seems like it would be this gigantic distraction. Like if I'm trying to do some work and I have a Discord up and all of a sudden ping, 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 just constantly, I'd be like, well, now I have to go look.
That's the thing about Discord. Once the first ping goes off, if you ignore the first ping, you don't get the rest of them. So it pings once. And unless you actually go into it and swipe left or right to ignore it, then it just pings once.
So here's what I do whenever I join a new Discord. Double click the dots, mute server. I just mute the whole thing because I don't want the notifications.
I keep the general chat going. The general chat, I keep going for a week.
Well, I mean, there are other things like say for example, I have Skype and I keep forgetting to launch Skype, and so I probably miss a lot of people who would otherwise talk to me. If I forget to open Discord on Chrome, I'm gonna miss a lot too. It's just
there's the Discord app, and I have that running on my phone, and I have it set, as I say, for only notifications in the general chat of the ones. The way I work it is if I don't talk in that server should be muted.
Well,
I keep it on notifications, but
I don't internet on my phone. I do it all on my PC, if for no other reason than because it's more visible and I can freaking type like a normal person. So
That's same here.
Uh-huh.
I've gone to extensive lengths to keep the internet off my phone.
See, I work an awful lot and I be out in the car an awful lot, so my phone is with me more often than the actual PC. The PC does obviously give you better abilities and stuff to stream and hang out, and I wouldn't do this if I was on my phone. But for the Discord app, for the text, it is very, very good. As long as you switch your fucking notifications off, because it will ding, 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 ding. Like it's
Yeah. See,
it's
I
insane.
just
I work from home. Like YouTube is my job, so like my phone is near me, but I don't use it unless someone actually calls me.
Yeah,
know?
well, it's the same on your fucking PC. It dings like crazy, bottom right hand corner, especially if you're using Windows 10. You actually will lift the screen and throw it out the window unless you tweak your notifications.
I don't know. I mean, I'm told that Discord is one of the best places to grow your channel, but I just don't like it.
Well, if it's any good to you, BionicDance, I can make you a Discord in about 15 minutes. I have one preset that I just clone. I admin in a couple of servers, and it's basically it's. I've used the phrase before: if you can help someone, you should help someone. And modern day debate, converse contender. I was a wee bit involved in the Skylar one. You know, I can. Discord is easy. It's when you know what you're doing, it's easy.
Well,
I
thank
think
you.
it would be. I think with in your case, Kate, it would be best for you to create your own and just start and learn how to manage Discord on your own, like with one server, and then when you get better at it and you've worked it out, because like
But see, it's down to the permissions, Kitty. You don't want people coming in who have full access. The one I'm talking about that I have has just roles set up.
I understand what you meant. I meant don't go into Discord trying to join 17 different Discords. Go in and just join one or two until you get the hang of using it yourself, and then joining 13 more is no big deal, because that was my issue too. Starting out with like,
I mean, but what I did when I first tried to start out,
like all the things blinking and all the noises.
Let me explain my experience here. I mean, what happened was there were a few things where I had to join Discord just because that's where people were talking about the relevant stuff. So I did it, but then I was looking at their server, and like I said, subforum, and I was like, where do I even talk about the reason I came here? You know, like I joined because of Star Control Origins, and I wanted to ask people about one thing or another, and I couldn't even find it. And then also I tried to send my first message, and it was like, no, you have to be approved by a moderator. Oh, you have to wait 2 hours after joining before you can post. I was like, this is such bullshit.
Yeah.
I'd rather just go to Facebook, because
that's what happens when you join an absolutely massive one with auto moderation, with specificness and stuff. Tony, post a link to the Pigsty Discord. It's very simple. General chit chats where you talk. Video suggestions is where you post videos. Debate is where you fight. Memes is where you post memes. It's very simple. There's only like 7 chats. We keep it small and cozy. When I disagree, I agree with you. Like when you join somebody like Cirrus is like 50 fucking channels. See,
Cirrus is like the pinnacle. Cirrus's channel is like, I'm sorry, his Discord is like the pinnacle of sub channel.
Yeah,
another problem I was having is that it was not clear where any of the pings were coming from. Like I'm talking in one forum and all of a sudden ping, 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 ping. And like I couldn't find where they were coming from. Nothing popped up. I might see a bunch of like new message notifications on 80,000 different servers. And I click on that server and I didn't know which sub server it was in.
See, they're not working their permissions. You want to level it so only the people who matter can actually add. Everyone, you know, they're not working their permissions. You need a Discord's good when people know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, well,
any old joke.
Yeah, well, what Kate's describing is exactly what's put me off of Discord. Is I get on there and it keeps giving me notifications, and I have no idea who it is I'm supposed to be. Yeah,
you don't need to get notifications. Man, I'm an honest to God, I have 4 folders with at least 10 servers in each folder. I'm getting close to Shane level, which is 100 servers. Do you think I look at every fucking ping from 100 servers?
How do you know where a ping comes from, even if you want it? I mean, suppose
the
Suppose
channel.
there's like 8
What I do
different
when I join
channels
the
that
server, like
you're
Pirate
curious
Kitty.
about, and suppose there's a bunch of sub things that you're curious about, and maybe you post a message in one of them, and you want to know if someone replies, and like then you get a ping, and you don't even know where the hell it is, much less whether it's one of the things where you wanted a reply. It's just so bizarre. How do you
You
know?
see,
So
that's
how
what I
you
do.
how you
What Kitty does the very first day is they jump in and they mute everything and then they work through what they want. What I do is I generally will go to sleep and leave everything on full alerts. Wake up to 50 notifications from Discord. And then I will go down through them and I will unlock my phone, click it, it'll load up the page. I will then hit the 3 dots and go only at mentions. Go down to the next one, only at mentions. Go down to the next one, only at mentions. Now, I know it's tedious, but after that very first day of joining the server and you do that, you then only will get a notification from general chat or if somebody specifically mentions you.
So how you can tell if
Well,
there's a notification is that the Discord icon will have a little white knob next to it.
Uh-huh.
And then if you go into
Hold on.
that Discord, each
Now,
of
we're
the chat.
talking left screen,
on.
Bionic. We're
Hold
talking
on.
on the left of
Hold
your
on.
screen.
Hold
Mhm.
on. Let me show you something here. Okay.
Yeah, do screen share.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying. I don't know if it's coming up.
There it is.
Okay.
There you go.
You see
Holy cow.
all of that shit right there. Notification, notification, notification. How the
Oh my
fuck
goodness,
do I
why
know-
did you do that? What have you got going on? This is like malware on a PC in the 90s, right? Take your screen share off and I show you mine.
I mean, but that's the
Sorry.
thing is, when I joined Discord, I mean, I barely knew what it was. And when I started using it, I was like, well, this is just IRC on steroids. But I mean, it very quickly got so confusing. And I was like, I don't even know what the point of this shit is. You know, it just got so, it started to feel like work is the problem.
Right. Well, you see, okay. Yeah, he sorted me now. Right. This is notifications on
All
mine.
right.
And I am in a hell of a lot more servers than yours. But you see, I've got one here. This is my server. So somebody's pinged me in that in the general chit chat. So it's my server and in the general chit chat.
Okay.
I know
But
if I go in here.
you see those white nubs that are kind of like hover over one of the notification things. Yeah, no, the little ones. Yeah, right there. Down one more. To join join left, right.
Oh.
See the white dot?
Where are we here? I'm having a hard time. Oh, yeah, that. Okay.
That white dot tells you that there's new posts on that server. If there's no red notification, that means nobody's pinged you. So that you could click there and you'll see the same white dots inside, and that means there's new posts on those channels as well. So if message log, if you don't have anything in there, you've never talked in there, I would just click that and clear it.
You know, there really ought to be a
And saying that as well, you
tutorial
see
here. A
all these
tutorial
channels.
would be extraordinarily helpful.
Yeah.
All these channels here aren't accessible. So, say for Toxic Bionic, you joined my server, you wouldn't see any. You wouldn't see this. You wouldn't see this. You wouldn't see this. Any of this. All you would see is these like 5 or 6 channels here, and then these 5 or 6 channels here. So it's only 10. I try and keep it, and the channels is public to everybody. I put symbols beside to keep it simple. So you've got trenches, picture of a pig, better picture of a pig. You know, it depends on people setting it. Like if you go into someone like this, like look at this here. This is insane amount of channels. You know, this is an insane amount of channels. Why do you need all these channels? This one I like. This is one of my favorite servers. Look at all the channels you get. It's very simple.
My
You
favorite
talk
thing
serious
is
shit here. You talk politics here. You suggest videos here, and you talk shite here. That's it.
Yeah. I like that you like if there's a channel like let's just say that there's a channel for politics and you don't want to talk politics. You can mute that channel
Yep.
and then hide the channel so you can't even see it.
Yeah, do you see the way, like, what is it? I can go into here, notifications, only at mentions. That's the way I have it for.
Wait, where are you? Okay, here we go.
Sorry.
only if somebody actually tags me in that will I get a notification. Now, if I
actually,
use server default, you'd
I
get a
have
tag.
that set though, and it's not. I'm still getting notifications out the ass, unless by notification you
Go
mean
to this, right?
you mean an audible ping.
No. Right. This server is called Atheist Refuge, right? You're in a server called BionicDance, right? So you go to the name, you go to the top of this, you go to
Yeah.
notification settings, and you set
Yeah.
it to this.
That's
Only.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I already have that set. It's not doing any good.
You're still
right.
getting all the
Then you
ping
need to
noise?
also click this.
Well, no, I
Suppress
just
everyone and at here.
okay. Oh man, this
You
is so,
also need to mute the servers.
this is just so freaking arcane. I don't.
Well,
I don't like
if you set only at mentions and suppress everyone, that is basically you muted unless somebody mentions you. So it's good to have that alert if somebody wants to specifically talk to you.
Okay, that
If you mute the server, you'll get no notifications whatsoever. But if you do only at mentions, suppress everyone and everything and here and hit this, then you will only be tagged when someone mentions your name.
I see.
I might have to double check my settings then.
Because if you're in 50, 60, 70 servers and somebody wants to specifically talk to just you, you still want that alert to come up. You don't want it to be completely muted.
Right.
Again, man, it's down to your permissions. It's down to linking. It's, it is tweaking the small settings. It is tweaking the small print. Once you have your small print sorted, you're landed. You're grand. You're sorted.
I wish that they would have a like a where you could set that.
I
and it
made
would
a video
apply
for
that
how
to
to
every
make your own
server.
Discord. It's unlisted on my channel. I'll send you a link, but it's an absolute ramble. You're safer just letting me talk to you like this and doing it like this. Because everybody is completely different. Like this, where is it? This particular person is Cobra JFS. Has anyone ever heard of Cobra JFS? He makes magic wands, sits in his underwear and plays guitar and talks absolutely bollocks.
And he probably gets bajillions more views than I do.
Oh, he has huge views, absolute huge views, but he's comical. We've got Converse, everybody's different, and you have to set the server up.
There are times I've honestly thought about just abandoning YouTube atheism and making like an unboxing channel, because for some reason, those were some of my most popular videos.
Well, I hear there's a cheesecake war going on in a couple of channels at the minute. Do you want to jump in on that? I'm all up for strawberry cheesecake with chocolate chips and ginger nuts as a base.
How does a war about cheesecake go?
I don't know. There was a war on peanut butter for a while there too.
Well, actually, I joined in on that one. I made this big animated thing where aliens.
Why are you asking about a war on cheesecake? You got away with a war on peanut butter. And you're worried about cheesecake.
Kate ended the war on peanut butter with one video.
Actually. But the thing is, I mean, I understand where people were having a mock disagreement about peanut butter, but it seems to me that a cheesecake war would be different. I don't know. I'd have to look, I guess.
Well, I would always put at least 20% ginger nuts in and use digestives and chocolate chip. It gives you a wee bit of everything. The ginger nut biscuits is very, very good. And
so are you making your own cheesecakes then?
Why would you buy a cheesecake?
Yeah.
You heathen.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm not much of a baker. You want me to, I'm a ninja.
You don't bake a cheesecake.
I am a ninja when it comes to making a stir fry, but a cheesecake, I don't know how. I wouldn't know where to begin. I'd have to look at a recipe somewhere.
Actually,
Sorry,
if you get a good recipe,
to your
cheesecake's
channel. What were
not
you
all
saying?
that hard because you whip everything together, you put it in the fridge overnight, you don't have to bake it.
Yeah, you don't bake a cheesecake. That's why I just unsubscribed. What were you saying?
I honestly have never tried to build a cheesecake before. I thought you baked it like any other fucking cake.
We're
Well,
building.
There are some that you
baking.
can, but there are no bake recipes.
Okay. All right.
We don't build. We don't bake. Okay, I'm going to kick myself now. Her cheesecake knowledge is not up to par. Although I do respect you on your sci-fi.
Okay. All right. All right. I actually like there's the guy that I've been sort of debating with, and we actually did a live stream like a couple of weeks ago, where as much as we disagree because he's a theist and I'm not, when I said to him that there was one universal rule to which all must adhere, namely that Star Wars is better than Star Trek, he high-fived me, which was cool. So
Well, I have to ask you a question. I have had a general debate going with one-way apologetics. I don't know if anyone here knows of one-way apologetics from. No, he's not worth it. He's funny anyway. He's a Calvinist, and
Okay.
he's a massive sci-fi fan. You know, I had a row with him where we have came to an agreement where we will not talk religion anymore. We will just talk sci-fi. And we've
Okay.
still come to a fucking impasse because he's all about Picard, and I
Hmm.
think Cisco's a better captain, and BionicDance. As a general, now don't just take that one question: is Cisco better than Picard? Take the show into consideration. The actual fact that Picard and Next Generation was episode per episode. DS9 came out at the same time as fucking Babylon 5. There was a whole story progression. You know, take it all into account. Cisco or Picard.
Picard.
I fucking hate you. Can someone kick her? Kick her.
Here's the thing. Okay, because I would have, if you just said consider the characters, I might have changed my mind. But honestly, I find Deep Space Nine really hard to watch. There's just something about it that pisses me off, and it's mostly the Ferengi. I find
I think Quark's fantastic.
really annoying. They're shrill, they're obnoxious, and half of them are freaking stupid. And I'm just
worse in fucking Next Generation. They were assholes in Next Generation. Now they only got what, 2 episodes?
But they weren't in it as
Main
much as they
characters.
are in Deep Space
Yeah, they
Nine.
got 2 episodes.
They were in every freaking episode, whereas in Next Generation they were in what, 3?
Yeah, but in DS9 they were self-aware of that with the whole episode where the Grand Negus went inside the wormhole. The prophets changed them, and then there was towards the end where they made Quark's brother. Oh, right. I'm just gonna kick myself. Where's this button?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I liked DS9 up until the end when it got really heavily religious.
It
with
did
the
do that.
whole- And I was just like, as an atheist, that was just kind of like really off-putting, considering the whole thing with the human race and the Federation was like religion's not a thing anymore. But we're going to turn this show into he's a messiah.
I will agree with you in that because Deep Space Nine, it came out of the blue. But if you watch a certain show, say for talk's sake, Battlestar Galactica, it was hinted at from the very, very start. And I like the new version of Battlestar Galactica.
Kick yourself again. Oh. But
I think
okay. Here's the thing. You might be surprised if you ask me who my favorite Star Trek character is.
Who is it?
I'm
Tom
guessing
Paris.
7 of 9. What?
Tom Paris.
Tom Paris is very,
Really?
very. Yeah, no, I'll agree with you on that. He is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, okay,
Why-
one of my biggest problems with Star Trek is the enormous stick up its ass. It tries so hard to be highbrow, and it just comes off as pretentious.
That episode where he had the ship, where the ship and him took over, and the other episode where he built the Delta Flyer, fantastic.
Well, but that's the thing is Tom Paris is the best everyman on Star Trek. He comes off like someone I might know in real life, as opposed to the people on most of the other shows where I'm just like, you are such a stereotype, a caricature, rather than a real person.
Was it 2-parter or 3-parter where they went and they found out about the spy inside, and they got the Klingon woman who was really a Bajoran, or sorry, the other way around. She pretended to be a Bajoran, but she was really a Klingon. He pretended to be an asshole, got kicked off Voyager.
I vaguely remember that. I liked it
She
better.
was Cardassian.
I liked it better when they did that same concept on the Orville.
The Orville is one of the best sci-fi shows out there.
Oh, I adore the Orville. Such a great show.
Have you watched The Expanse? I watched the new episode of the Expanse tonight.
I tried The Expanse and I couldn't get into it. It's too serious. It doesn't. I can't relate to any of the characters, and it's just not really all that fun. It's too.
What
Grand.
about Lost in Space? I was gone for 4 hours on Christmas Day watching episodes of Lost in Space till my woman came and found me in the conservatory. It was like, this only came out yesterday. Go away.
The Netflix Lost in Space or the
Yeah.
original? Okay. Now, I saw that season 2 came out, and I'd watched season 1 and thought it was pretty decent, except for the part where what's her face was stuck in the ice for multiple episodes. That got dull. But the thing is, I'd forgotten a lot about it. So when I started watching season 2, they did the season 1 recap and didn't remember any of it. Every last scrap of that recap, I was like, when the hell did that happen? So I'm going back and rewatching season 1 now. And I'm actually kind of bored.
Before the show would show second series, third series, fourth series, whatever it is, I would generally go back and watch the last 2 episodes before actually watching. When the first episode come out, I will watch the last 2 episodes. I watched episode 12 and 13 tonight of The Expanse before I watched The Expanse, and I was like, thank fuck I did it, because I missed that. I don't remember that. And then when it was referenced in the new series, it was definitely worthwhile watching.
Well, I mean, another problem is that I keep mixing up The Expanse and Dark Matter.
I can see but Dark Matter's very, very good. I'm a huge, again, Stargate SGU fan, SG1 fan, and the whole fact that SGU ended with them entering a cryogenic factor, then they disappeared to a graphic novel, and then it gets picked up by the same channel that fucking cancelled them and starts with the same thing that ended SGU. It just annoyed me. Dark Matter was very good, but I'm glad they brought The Expanse back. I definitely am. The Lost in Space Series 2 is very good. And as someone there, I think it was episode 3 or episode 4, where there was a massive focus on the father-daughter relationship. As someone who has a daughter from 3 years and the shit that was happening, I'm a 36-year-old man that changed his tires. I would needed a box of tissues. You know, it really struck a poignant part with me.
Okay, I didn't get there, I guess. I don't know. Was The Expanse the one where at one point they find a bunch of people who are like encased in crystal or some shit?
No. The Expanse is the blue genetic thing that takes over the human body, takes over things.
Okay, it looked crystal to me, but whatever. I got to that point and was like, this looks really dumb. I don't know. I couldn't get into it.
Some things are like that. Battlestar Galactica, as much as I do promote it, the first series and a half was boring as fuck, setting up the scene, and I generally skip that when I do a rewatch.
I only saw the first episode and said, screw this crap. Because, I mean, for me, my personal philosophy is that entertainment is supposed to uplift me. It's supposed to get me away from life's horrible shit. And so when everyone on the new Battlestar Galactica was either angry or sad or depressed or whatever, I was like, why do I want to watch this?
You see, that's the thing. I am in full agreement with you. The first series was dragged out. It was all about setting the precedent about who everybody was and where their standing point was, their foundation and all the rest of it. But second, third, and the fourth series especially.
Well, I mean, what I love about the original, as kind of crappy as it was, because, you know, it was the 70s and what could they do? Basically, though, I love the vibe of it, because they were basically like, hey, you remember how everyone totally loved Star Wars? Well, here's something. They're like, here's something similar. I mean,
I don't remember the original. I don't remember the original very well, but I don't remember it being depressing.
It wasn't. Although, like the first time I watched it, what I didn't realize is that it's basically Space Mormons.
Yep.
You know, watching it now, I'm like, wow, this is right on the nose, isn't it? If you know even the first thing about Mormonism, you realize that this is just, it's kind of the way Battlefield Earth is Scientology. You know what I mean?
I can't really remember the first one. I do remember an episode where the original characters or the Battlestar Galactica crew landed on Earth and they were jumping in and out of trees. I have a vague recollection of that because they were all, my gravity's less than your gravity, and they were jumping in and out of trees.
Yeah, that was something like Galactica 1985 or something.
Yeah, I don't.
In 1980, they did Galactica 1980.
Yeah,
I never saw that one.
Well, there you go. I didn't even know that it was non-canon, so to speak. But
yeah, that is right up there with the Star Wars Christmas special.
Well, I'm 1983 born, man, and that's the only recollection of the original Battlestar Galactica that I have.
I just remember the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, hey, that's Face from the A-Team.
Now the A Team, that's a different story. We all love the A Team.
Well, I mean, and another problem I had with the remake of Battlestar Galactica, and I was talking to Purple Rhymes with Orange about this before the show started. I hate it when they decide to race and gender flip characters, because basically they're fixing something that isn't broken. And I mean, Battlestar Galactica, the original, was already pretty damn diverse to begin with. So what was the point?
I don't know.
It's so frustrating sometimes. It's like, if you need so badly to have characters that are whatever, and it doesn't even matter. If they changed a chick into a dude, I'd be just as pissed. If they made Superman's heat vision yellow instead of red, I'd be just as pissed, and for the same reason. It's like, if you need to make something that original, if you need to piss in the soup till you like the flavor, just make something new. Make something original. I would rather see a completely original sci-fi where they tick every PC box they gotta than to take something that's long established and rework it.
The original Battlestar Galactica, it was actually a plot point with the diversity. Because on the Galactica, they had no female fighter pilots. They could only pilot the shuttles. And it wasn't until they brought the Pegasus into the series that the Pegasus was so short of qualified pilots that they had allowed females in combat for the first time.
Well, I recently watched Neo Genesis Evangelion on Netflix and didn't quite get the ending, so went to YouTube, as we all do, to explain the ending, then found out there was a movie, then found out that Netflix had changed the original, and they'd made it more, they'd made it more LGBTQ with they said love instead of like, and different translations and things like that. And as Bionic has mentioned, whenever, rather than taking something that has been done and changing it to match the PC culture, it won't match up, because it's like, you go fuck your cart instead of you go fuck your dildo. It's a big context as well. Things can change.
I mean, I'm not against diversity. I'm not against, equal rights or anything. What I'm against is tokenism.
Yeah. One of my favorite shows of all time, as I don't know if Critical Cripple's in the chat, but Purple definitely knows, and Pirate, I don't know if you know Bionic of Critical Cripple, but Lex is one of my favorite shows ever. Lex takes every don't say this, don't do this box on the fucking paper. Like, it's definitely my favorite sci-fi show ever. I could play a part in the first fucking 2 series.
I mean, I've heard of it,
but
I was told that it was like literally X-rated at times, and I just wasn't.
Insects crossed with Star Trek crossed with softcore porn.
Yeah, I'm not into that. It's no.
But there's also a subplot on the story. It's just very exaggerated on every single point. It takes everything and then pushes it to the extreme. But
Lex. What was Lex on? Like, what channel?
I do believe that Lex was a Sci-Fi Channel 90s late at night.
It's really weird for being
Lex was originally, the first series of Lex is 4 movies. It was originally 4 B movies that they made on a very low budget, and because it got such a big, hype behind it, and everybody was like, this is fantastic, that they then made another 3 series afterwards where they got funded by the Sci-Fi Channel. Back when it was actually good. And
that was the thing, didn't Sci-Fi also do like that Andromeda show, and then there was another sci-fi one that they did, but it was odd. Andromeda wasn't Sci-Fi.
No. I was going to say Andromeda wasn't as bad as people make out, but
that's the thing, though, is I watched the first 2 episodes of Andromeda quite recently because I'd never seen it before, and I was looking for new sci-fi. And after that second episode, I was like, "But this is just a ripoff of Farscape."
Farscape's fantastic. Now I'm going to rewatch Farscape if I can find a good fucking stream on it, but nobody.
I liked Farscape in the beginning, but after they switched the main villain, I really didn't care for the way it played after that.
In the Peacekeeper Wars, they switched it back to a buddy. So he was friends again at the end.
Well, I mean,
Okay, so
I kind of enjoyed Scorpius, actually. I thought that Krace was too much of a whiner.
Yeah, Chris whinged and cried and always had to be.
well,
at
he
the top
was,
of his
but
pedestal.
Scorpius seemed too unhinged to really have that high of a position of command.
Bionic, we
Honestly,
definitely
what
have,
villain
I
doesn't?
definitely have to get you on some night just to totally and utterly talk purely about sci-fi. This is. What's your thoughts on Dragon Ball Z?
Never seen it. Well, no, I take that back. I watched one episode and I was so both confused and bored by it. And everyone tells me that was a bad episode. But basically, what happened was there were these two guys standing on what looked like flat asteroids that were floating. And it looked like they were about to fight each other, but they spent the whole episode just screaming at each other.
Oh, so
I was
you
like, what the
watched
hell
the
is this
Frieza
shit?
saga and you didn't watch it in the Kai version. That's totally understandable. Nobody who watches Dragon Ball Z watches the original back again. We all watch the Kai version because the filler episodes are shite. I will agree with you on that. You should look up on YouTube though, Dragon Ball Z Team 4-Star Abridged.
Okay.
And they take Dragon Ball Z, they shorten 200 episodes to 60, and they replace everything with adult versions of. It's very funny.
Well, okay. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's my
I kind of
favorite
felt
anime.
I
That's
was
the only
subjected to Dragon Ball Z because I was raising teenagers. So it's like
my-
I
have
kind of
to
had
say,
to watch parts of it, and I never understood any of
I'm
it.
trying to collect all the official Dragon Balls. I have 3 at the minute, and my girlfriend has learned if anyone asks her if Robbie dies, what do you do? And without hesitation, she will reply, "Get the Dragon Balls." That's
Yeah, I don't think people should be going around castrating dragons.
Sounds risky.
But there are a couple of shows that people have told me, "Ooh, try this, you'll love it." Where, like, the first time I watched it, I was like, "How can anyone possibly enjoy this?" Like, okay, the very first episode of Rick and Morty pissed me off. Like, I watched it,
her.
and when it was over, I was actively angry because apparently the writers has had something where they wanted to see how often they could get away with saying Morty, and it was like 96 times in one episode, and it was so annoying. I hated it. And maybe that would have been a viable joke if they had done it in like the 12th episode, but they did it in the first one, and it put me right off it.
Rick and Morty is very, very good. Tonight there was at least 5 minutes, and 3 minutes of that 5 minutes was just bleeps because they were fucking and blinding, and it was just them on screen blinding. And there was even a scene from this week's episode where it was snakes evolving along the same lines as us historically, and there was no word spoken. It was just snakes going. Tss, 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 tss. Did you see that, PirateKitty?
No.
I liked Rick and Morty just because it's such irrelevant humor.
Yep.
Irrelevant or irreverent?
Well, both actually.
Okay.
BionicDance. Have you seen llamas with hats?
Never heard of it. Never heard of it.
Right. Well, llamas. Carl. I'm gonna wake the child. Carl.
It's this silly episodic YouTube thing. It's just two llamas talking, and they both wear hats.
Did you see that Charlie the Unicorn? The final episode was released the other day.
Yeah, I think I started to watch that.
I saw like 5 episodes of Charlie the Unicorn. I don't know how many they made.
Oh, well, they finished. They had a year break, and then the very final episode came out about a month ago. It is more twisted than Llamas with Hats, and Llamas with Hats is pretty twisted to the point where he makes a skin dragon out of it.
Okay, Kate's
Here's
got her
one
hand
for
up.
you. Have you seen Purgatony?
No, that sounds weird.
Purgatony is absolutely hilarious. It's about this guy. He's dead, and he's in purgatory, working in a cubicle, deciding which people go to heaven and hell. And it's one of the funniest, most irreverent things you'll ever see. It's on the same channel as the Cyanide and Happiness show, and it's absolutely brilliant.
I've seen
Okay,
a
I love
guy.
Cyanide and Happiness.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
Mathpig, you know why llamas with hats got so much worse, right?
pardon?
You know why the llamas with hats started getting weirder and weirder and weirder, right?
Because it's fucking class. Like, who doesn't want to make a skin dragon out of dead white babies?
Well, no, the thing was is like he only wanted to do like 3 episodes, but he kept being pushed to when's the next one coming out? When's the next one coming out? Then he just started throwing shit together in order to put episodes out.
It's very freaky and very messed up. It's fantastic. It's one of my favorite things on YouTube after Team 4-Star Dragon Ball Z. All right, just to say, unless we pause this every 25 seconds, we will be done for copyright. I am sick of being done for doing the exact same thing and being done for copyright. Although they generally do allow me, but 25 seconds, you talk over the top of it.
Really, they've been getting you for copyright on your live streams?
I've had 7 copyright strikes and I'm only up from fucking September, man. But out of
Wow.
all them 7, 5 of them have allowed me to get away with it, and 2 of it I have just silenced over the top. You know, they give you the option to silence it.
I've never had any problems with it, but I think mostly I'm just too small for anybody to notice yet.
I should just stop pulling up fucking songs that we like to sing to and fucking popular video trailers and shit. You know, it's not like I'm.
Yeah, I
Like,
think the
nobody's heard of
songs are
Pirate-
something that the bots can catch much more easily.
Well, supposedly the first 25 minutes they don't watch, and then after that the algorithm dies down. So says Jim, the Master Sergeant of Atheist Age. But BionicDance is dying to do something, so I'm going to shut up.
Yeah, well, what I had heard was it was the first 17 minutes that they scan.
Well, 17, 20 odd. We'll go
Yeah.
with 20 minutes. We're at an hour and 7, so
Yeah.
we've definitely passed.
Now, see, I can get away with singing on my channel.
When you dispute a claim that they make where it's like, oh, we're demonetizing this video, they need a text box so you can give them an explanation.
Yeah, see, I think the problem is that they strike and ask questions later,
Well, that too.
and they leave most of it on the creator to fight back, where it should be the other way around. But
Oh, every video I've made for the last year has been auto demonetized instantly upon upload. And it doesn't even matter if it's about atheism or not. It doesn't matter what the tags are. Insta demonetized every time.
well,
Honestly, even if I think I could, I don't think I'd bother trying to get my channel monetized. It just sounds like way more hassle than it's worth.
It's
Yeah,
not
and
actually.
it's
It's not that much work. I mean,
it's not really worth it though.
seems
Is it
like-
not 35%? That you
frustrating because they don't really give you any leeway or leverage when they decide to fuck with you. But at the same time, I mean, I make about $70 a month on it. It's not great. The real money for me, at least, is on Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and that's really what I'd kind of like to see is for Patreon to start, that you can do private videos on Patreon. I wish they'd start having a section that people could post videos publicly.
You can.
And
you
I
can
think
put your videos to
Patreon could
private and
actually
only
work
send the
itself
link.
up to be a substitute for YouTube, because it would be in their interest to get more new creators on there, to get more Patreon subscribers, and that's where they get their money.
Well,
Do you
I don't
remember
know
Sammy
if,
Jenkins?
you've
Purple?
seen it yet, but YouTube just came up with this weird channel membership thing that is basically like discount Patreon. But the thing is, the perks that they suggest you give your members are not anything I'd ever want to even try to do. So,
I know Godless Engineer and Cirrus have those channel memberships, and it's like, I don't see the point. And also, YouTube tends to take way too big a chunk. It's like the super chats; they take 30%.
Oh, and what Tony Design said, yes, I know Sirs does that, and I did it for quite some time too, where you keep your video on private until they review it because it's been demonetized and they have to review it, and then release it. But what I've come to realize is I don't give a fuck anymore because my revenue, if I release it right away, and my revenue, if I wait for them to review it, is exactly the same. I don't notice a difference at all. And I didn't notice a difference in my subscriber numbers either. Like, hey, you're monetized. That means the algorithm will show you to people more. That didn't happen either. So I said, you know what? This is not worth it. I'm just going to release my videos right away and I don't fucking care.
Well, I got my very first Patreon tonight. Thank you very much. Remember, Sammy Jenkins, if you're watching this, 3.14 as in pay, but I got my
Well,
first.
see, what I'm working on is I figured rather than bothering with, trying to get like 500,000 subscribers and to get all these people on Patreon, I'm just going to set up my Patreon with one subscriber level of $1,000, and I only need one patron.
Yeah.
There's a couple of people that have done that as a joke. I know that Rachel Oates has got a $1,000 Patreon level that she says like, I'll send you a lock of my hair, and then the next level is, no, seriously, I won't do that. Don't donate this. If you do, I will definitely be doing a refund.
I actually looked at a video that explained little tricks to try to get more subscribers. And the goofiest one, and I don't even know if it works at all, is in the description of every video. Just have a "don't click this" link. And when you click it, it takes you to the "hey, you've just subscribed to BionicDance" page. And the only way to unclick it is this little tiny X down on the bottom of the screen, and so it's so much easier to just click, yeah, okay, I'm subscribed. It's kind of cheap, it's kind of chintzy, it's kind of stupid, but what the hell? If it gets you more viewers, it gets you more viewers.
Yeah.
I'm all about the tags. I love the tag. I think it's like a game to see which ones can get you more alerts back and forth.
Well, and Kate,
Anyway,
definitely for you, when you put in the animation, I think that's really what a lot of people are looking for. And I realize that stuff takes an incredible amount of time to make just, a 15-second thing.
Oh, it's such a pain in the butt. Anyway, it's almost 11:15 here. I should be going to bed, and I'm also very, very hungry. So I will catch you
Okay.
with the geniuses later.
Okay, well, thanks
Bye-bye.
for joining us. Really like
Sure.
having you here.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to be here. So,
Bionic, thank you very much for joining the pigsty. I will chat to you, and we definitely have to get you on in the new year.
if I remember at all to check Discord again.
I will find your email and stalk you. Don't worry.
Okay.
Okay, good night.
Yeah, I definitely have to go to bed because it's 11:15 for her. It's 7:15 in the morning for me.
Yep.
So yeah, I'll leave you to it.
Okay. Well,
You
thanks for
kids
coming
have
in.
fun.
Yeah, we'll chat with you later. And I guess at some point I need to figure out Discord, but I really dread doing it because I've got so much other software I'm trying to learn, like a new video editor and things like that. It's just like,
Well,
I guess I don't yet see the value in Discord that makes it worth the time it's going to take me to figure it out.
Well, on a side note, Purple, something similar to your Christmas one, New Year's Eve. I'm all alone on New Year's Eve because my woman had to work Christmas or New Year's
Yeah.
Eve. You see,
Well, we're
she's-
definitely going to be, yeah, I should work more formally to set it up, but yeah, we're definitely going to have to run some kind of chat stream New Year's Eve.
yeah,
Because
well,
I've
I'm
had
thinking of
several
doing
people mention that already.
Yeah, I'm up for like 4 hours of Quiplash, man.
Yeah.
you can
Yeah, we
put
just
me
have
down
to.
for- Yeah, I'm free.
Yeah,
from-
that's after you introduced me to Quiplash. I went on Jackbox and I bought one of their party packs that includes Quiplash and like 4 other games.
It's a lot of fun, isn't it?
So yeah, I still haven't experimented with how you get those to actually run in a chat, but
Oh, don't even ask me, man. It was using two screens to copy one side of a screen to then crop another side of the same screen to get it widened.
Oh,
It's
that could be really difficult. I only have one screen.
yeah. Well, what we can do is I can set it up and we can actually host it on yours. But that's a different conversation for a different time.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, but that sounds good for New Year's Eve. Of, doing a couple hours of games.
Oh yeah, well I was aiming from going from 8 p.m. UK until I pass out at the keyboard stone drunk. That was my plan because I'm off for 2 days after that and I have no girlfriend, no kids.
Okay, 8 p.m.
UK,
What's
which would
that?
be 3 p.m. No, 8, you're 7 behind me, which would be 1.
No, I'm 6. I'm 6 behind you. I'm whatever. I'm London plus 6.
Yeah. Well, there you go. London plus 6. So
Yeah.
if it's 8 for me, it would be 2 p.m.
Hey, Tria.
Yay!
You feeling up to talking?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay, Mathpig, why don't you get some rest and we'll cover that stuff
I'll leave
later.
you to it. I'm going to an open farm tomorrow to go play with some snakes and lizard, and they supposedly have a crocodile. But yeah,
Okay, so that's interesting.
yeah. I'll post links on Discord, Purple. It's more of an incentive for you to learn it. Night, everybody. Thanks very much for having me.
Night.
Hey, Tria.
Hey.
Yeah, I know you've been having an exhausting time with things.
Yeah. It's not been good. I'm still kind of catching up from all of the BS.
Yep.
So.
Oh,
Did you get through
hello.
the doctor's appointments all right?
Yeah. We don't have any more for about a week, but because of how much time all of that energy, that stuff took up, I am behind on housework to a really bad degree. Also does
Yeah.
not help that neither Pufflepuff nor my dad are actually able to help me with housework right now.
Yeah,
So-
just on a daily basis, you've got so much that you have to deal with.
Yeah, and normally it's not this bad. This is not, although it may become the new normal, it's usually not this bad.
Yeah.
But
well, I can empathize with a lot of it just because my fiance required such constant care, and things like every morning waking up was just a panic to get up and get her coffee and get everything set up, and try to get everything going just for her to wake up without having an asthma attack.
yeah, we're looking at surgery or radiation therapy for her, and I haven't broken the news to her yet.
Okay, I thought you were going to be waiting on results from some of the doctor stuff that you'd just gone through to make those
The
kind of
tech
decisions.
sat down with me and said, you need to start doing research now before you go into the appointment. And these are the two that are most likely going to be recommended.
Oh, yeah.
And when
pretty,
your
pretty
tech
harsh to go
sits,
either way.
when your tech sits down with you, you know shit's fucked up.
Yep.
Because they're technically not supposed to do that.
Yeah, that doesn't seem normal procedure.
Now, he could be wrong, but honestly, every time a tech has sat down and told me something like that, they've been right. So...
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand her condition or what the side effects would be. I just...
her thyroid is creating extra hormones, essentially. And right now it's causing heart issues, pain, difficulty with swallowing. So yeah. And I was supposed to have help, and help failed on me. So
Yeah. That's a whole nother bag of stuff when people say they'll step up, and that's, sorry, I could go into long rants on that. I've gotten so used to doing everything alone because I've often had people who volunteered to help, but when the day came, no one shows up.
that's pretty typical for me. I've had exceptions. Like there was a lovely person who, in between Hufflepuff's 2 appointments earlier this week, like she had a day where like she was supposed to see the tech once, and then she saw him again 4 hours later after the medicine kicked in. They actually, and I don't know this person, it was a friend of a friend, but basically a Scadian from somebody from the SCA said, I know of your mom and I know your sister a little bit, by reputation. I don't mind picking you up at the hospital and like having you sit at my place for a couple of hours and I'll feed you. Because our only options for like leaving the hospital were going to a place to eat, and she wasn't allowed to eat for 2 hours after her medicines.
Yeah.
So it was like, what am I gonna do? Take her to a restaurant to sit there for 2 hours and like smell all the food and crap? Like, wasn't gonna do that to her, but
Yeah.
so far that's the only person who has said, hey, I'll do something for you, that's actually followed through. So it's not been fun. Fortunately, I don't really like Christmas anyways, so the fact that all of this is hitting around Christmas made it harder, but it didn't exactly ruin anything per se.
Yeah, for me, Christmas is just a lot more stress than I need to deal with, and the positive bits of it do not outweigh the extra stress.
For me, my mom hated Christmas and made sure that we would have memories of hating it too.
Oh.
Like, I don't think she purposely did it, but like I think subconsciously
Yeah.
she kind of did. So
Well, again, for me, it's mostly like, my family loved it and tried to start all these wonderful traditions and doesn't understand why I have childhood memories of some of these traditions being very traumatic.
ooh.
So it's like there are things that they're trying to bring back again, and it's like, I hated that the first time we did it.
Oh,
Again,
yeah.
there's such a divide between me and most of my family just about, what's important and what's fun.
Yeah. Family can.
Well, I realize in retrospect, a lot of the stuff was growing up, I had stuff that was never diagnosed. But it's like, even now, when I know what it is and I tell them about it, no one really seems interested in learning about what comes with these conditions. And if they would bother to learn about it, they might understand why some of these things they think are fun, I want nothing to do with.
Yeah. It sounds like they just want you to just play along, which kind of bites.
Yeah. Well, my family's very big into denial that if something horrible happened and we don't talk about it, then it never really happened.
Yeah, that's not how that works. That's
Yeah,
not how
so
that
it's
works
like
at all.
there's a whole bunch of things that I remember that no one will ever talk about. And if other people are not willing to acknowledge these things have at least happened, I can't really go along with some of these other things because for me, they're kind of linked together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
this summer is going to be fun. July 4th will be every third year we've had a family reunion. So it will be over July 4th weekend again.
Hey, my family does July 4th as well.
Yep. So
But
this
I kind of like that side of the family. It's see, the thing is that I avoid my mom's side of the family like the plague because I figured a bunch of shit out about them that I just can't deal with,
mhm.
and my grandfather disowned my mom, and once he disowned her, it was kind of easy for us to like just not ever talk to anybody on that side again. But my dad's side of the family, they're all right. I don't think I could be around them 24/7 because that's too much, but
Yes, and Doc Pearson, you have my greatest sympathies. I know what you mean about having to go into long shifts on just a couple hours sleep. And I know you said something before about starting to hallucinate, and yeah, been there. Yeah, sorry, Tree. I didn't mean to be sidestepping what
it's
you were saying.
okay. It's okay. Hamable, I hope your baby is okay. Having a sick dog is no fun.
Yeah, I need to get my kitty in for a checkup. Not that there seems to be anything wrong with him. It's just it's been like 2 years since he's seen a vet, so he should at least get a routine check.
I am worried about taking Elmer in on the 3rd. Like, he is such a roller coaster right now. Like, today he's been like all zoomy and like cuddly and
Yeah,
playful. But like 2 days ago he was really not feeling well. And I'm worried that the anemia. I'm always concerned that one day I'm going to go in and have the vet say, well, the anemia is too bad. We need to talk transfusions.
and again,
And
huge respect for you that with everything else you do, you take such good care of him. Because I really think
I
most people by this time would have put him down. And
I don't feel like I'm doing as good with him as I should be right now. But then again, I'm kind of flailing around, kind of failing at everything at the moment.
well, you're basically taking care of everyone around you. And it's like your father seems to be the only one who's reasonably able to get through several days at a time without a lot of help.
Well, and he's not like that right now.
Yeah.
See, part of the problem is December is such a rough month for him that he mentally checked out the first week of December.
Mm-hmm.
Which I totally get, because if I weren't in the situation I'm in, that's where I would be too. And I understand why. There's a lot of different factors there, but
Yeah.
it basically took everything that he had to go ask for help. Like, he spent what little energy he had asking for help, and then when help failed, he shut down again. I will not have help from him again until mid-January. Which,
Mm-hmm.
again, it's basically a mental shutdown. Like, I accept and treat that the same way I would treat somebody who has a cold.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a mental thing for him right
Yeah,
now.
no, I know what you mean. I go through that myself usually the first week of September. And I was through those kind of things with my fiance, that there were particular things like the anniversary of when her sister died that she would not be able to do anything for several days.
Yeah. Like, it basically, for him to have even thought to ask for help for us, just, that was almost too much for him. So,
Yeah, tons of respect. I really don't know how you manage with as much as you deal with.
mental breakdown, crying, sleeping 18 hours, and then getting back up out of spite.
Yeah.
I'm not joking about that. That is actually what happened. I disassociated for a full 4 hours a couple of days ago, and then had a crying fit, then a hysterical laughing fit, then decided to sleep for 18 hours. Which did not help me catch up with anything, but in fact put me way too far behind on what I already had, but
was probably necessary for your body to rebuild.
Yeah. But that's how I'm handling it.
Yeah. But I mean, just, for you, yeah, right now it's being a bit tougher than usual, but I mean, even when everything's going well for you, you've got so much you deal with. I know how exhausting that constant immersion is, that, you basically feel like you have to run in crisis mode most of the time.
Yeah, and it's basically, it's gonna get a lot worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
Because like I said, even if they do a surgery with Hufflepuff, that both situations are long term and don't really solve anything. They just maintain stuff at this point. This is going to be a
they're
lifelong
reducing
thing.
the symptoms. They're not curing anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and who knows what else is going to kick in, because they honestly don't know a lot about people who have spina bifida after 30.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like most people who had spina bifida that have survived past 30 were born in the 80s, when they were just figuring out the genetic link and the supplements that are needed to prevent it.
Hey, Bub. You're welcome to come on in if you want. I think you can find the link in the usual Twitter groups private groups that we're in. Yeah. Yeah, I've known people. One of the couples I knew back when I lived in St. Paul had a little girl with spina bifida, but they were still dealing with her, just getting her through the toddler stage.
Oof. I don't remember much about Hufflepuff during that stage, but I remember what it looked like watching my mom. Like, I remember more about my mom and her reactions than I do anything dealing with Hufflepuff.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about that before, that, about spending so much time at the hospital, that I went through that with my sister having chronic
Yeah.
problems with her ear, and just spending days trying to find something entertaining to do at the hospital as a child.
Yeah, like, let's see. My sister had 3 major surgeries the first 2 years of her life, with months of recovery after each one. And then as soon as she got to the not quite crawling stage, like the pre-crawling where babies just kind of roll, they put her in therapy, and she was doing therapy 3 times a week. And I was like 6, so not even really old enough to be left on my own. So I was up at the children's hospital with her during that time frame. And even when I was old enough to kind of like take care of myself, my mom was like paranoid about me being a latchkey kid. Still dragged me to a lot of that stuff. At least until I demanded that I was old enough to walk home from school.
Yeah, well, with me, with there always being older siblings around, that, once I was in school, it wasn't an issue. So for me, it was all like before I started kindergarten, that there wasn't anything else she could do with me for the day, so she had to take me with all that.
Yeah. Well, in my case, it was just me and her, so my dad wanted more kids, but once Hufflepuff kind of arrived, Dad realized that there was no way he nor my mom could handle having more.
Yeah, where for me, I feel for a large part that by the time I was born, my parents had given up on raising children, and I was mostly raised by the older siblings. My parents had pretty little to do with it.
Yeah, I have feelings about that. Probably similar to yours.
Yeah. Well, and for me, it was like there were so many people in the house, everyone always assumed someone was watching me, but most of the time, no one was. So it's like I grew up in a house that never had less than a dozen people, but I feel I was largely neglected. I just kind of got overlooked and lost in the shuffle most of the time.
Yeah, in my case, I don't think I was so much neglected as I was watched like a hawk, but kind of in a weird sense where it was like my mom had the ability to take care of us physically, but I think emotionally she was so drained that a lot of times she was checked out. Which I don't blame her because that situation was terrible. But I looking back, I'm realizing my mom had depression issues, and she did not receive proper help in any way, shape, or form when we were kids.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's because she didn't ask. Because like we said earlier, I do ask for help, but it often either comes with somebody trying to push an abusive person on us or just not showing up.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I kind of gave up asking for help because I just can't rely on it. And it's worse for somebody to say they'll help and then not show up than for me to just go into it knowing no one's going to help.
Yeah. I totally get that. That's partially why I crashed so hard, was I had somebody basically say, hey, I'm going to come by on Sunday and help you with housework. And then they didn't show up, and I heard from them the next morning, and they said, hey, I'm going to come on Monday and help with housework. And then they called and said, I'll be in first thing in the morning. And I had fallen asleep. That was when I crashed, was on Tuesday. And then I woke up, and I expected to wake up and the house be clean because there was somebody to let her in, and she hadn't shown up. And then later that night, around 10 o'clock, she showed up, and she was like, hey, I'm just stopping by to wish you a Merry Christmas. And I was just like, I'm not going to even pretend to be nice to you right now.
Yeah, that's kind of ballsy for her to then just stop by when it's too late to do anything and think she can be all cheerful about it.
I've had problems with this person. I am no longer friends with them, but Hufflepuff still is. And while I wish Hufflepuff wasn't, that's not my choice.
Just the only excuse for her showing up that late would be to make an apology.
She did offer to come by on Friday, but the thing is Friday is too late, and I also don't trust her to keep her appointment at this point either.
Yeah.
Like, I really needed everything done and ready by Christmas Day. And, like, and I basically, like, I'm trying to get the kitchen under enough control to where I can cook tonight. Because I still haven't, I have a turkey that's defrosted and a bunch of herbs. And while, yes, I can put some of this stuff in the freezer, if I don't cook tomorrow, a lot of this stuff is going to go bad.
Yeah.
And so
this is the downside of having friends over the internet. It's like when I know people need help, I feel very helpless that I can't drive over and do something for you.
And see, that's the shitty thing, is I know like half a dozen people who would have actually shown up to my house and been like, we don't care what it looks like or what it smells like or how bad it is.
Yeah.
You know, and just actually done something, and I can't rely on the people who I'm supposed to be able to rely on.
I'm sure with our online group, if there were people that it was an hour or two drive, that 2 or 3 people would have shown up to help you clean up.
Mm-hmm. And like, I didn't need everybody to do everything. It's just sometimes when I'm down, it's helpful to have somebody physically in the room with me.
Yeah.
Like, in this case, I would have needed somebody to do it for me, but most of the time I just need somebody to sit down and keep me company so I don't get distracted or like, because I have a tendency to postpone stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I just have a lot of problems with, just kind of motivation and, like you say, getting distracted. So just if I have somebody just even to talk me through it, to keep me organized and on task.
Yeah, and I hate that I'm that way. I really do hate it, because there's usually nobody around. Dad did tell me he would try to help me this weekend. I don't know if he'll be able to, but was sweet of him to offer, and I know he means it. So I'm just hoping that maybe having Christmas be done with will help bring him back around a little. But yeah, it's... And part of me wants to ask somebody to just take the food that we've got. Like, just take it. But
Yeah.
But then if they take it, then I don't have anything else in the house, really, because that's what I planned on doing. I bought all of this stuff before I got the news that we were talking about radiation therapy. Like I said, I still haven't figured out how to break that to Hufflepuff yet.
Yeah, honestly, from a medical sense, I don't even know what that involves. I mean, my dad went through chemo, but I was living in a different state, so I wasn't really there to see what he went through.
It causes damage to the entire body in a way that people don't realize. Like, most of the time when you do something damaging to the body, you heal from it. Like, if you do a surgery, most of the time you're going to heal. You might have a scar, but generally speaking, the wound will close up. You know, there'll be a scar, but you won't feel it. That sort of thing. With radiation therapy, it degrades the body in a way that you never completely
things
heal.
on a subcellular level.
Now, I don't know much about the specific kind of radiation therapy, but I remember my mom getting really sick from it. And she had, and it killed the nerves in her hands and her feet. Like, she could still feel things, but the nerves were like shot. Well, no, they weren't shot, they were overactive. And stuff like she couldn't touch cold things. Cold things would cause her like extreme physical pain. There were certain foods she couldn't eat. She lost a lot of weight due to nausea and vomiting, and just... Now, of course, this was 10 years ago, so I don't know how things have changed. I do know that radiation therapy kills your immune system, which is what they want to do, because if it's what they think it is, her immune system is attacking her thyroid.
Yeah. Well, as far as the last 10 years, the main thing is that they can do it much more targeted. They can be much more specific about the areas they're affecting, and, not affect the things around it nearly as much as it used to.
Which is good, because we're talking about her throat.
Yeah.
Because,
So, yeah, basically that's, as far as the refinements, it's just being able to, aim it, direct it better.
Yeah.
But other than that, there really hasn't been a significant change.
Yeah, so... and her time, I'm kind of hoping we can somehow manage an extension with counseling with her, but her counseling is about to be up too.
Yeah.
So,
and again, there's something wrong with the system when it's based on, how much time or how many sessions are based on the cost rather than the need. The question should just be, will she continue to benefit from counseling? That should be the only thing they should consider.
Yes, and she would, because we were starting to get her depression sorted out and good again. Now, granted, a lot of it's being affected by her thyroid right now, but we were starting to get her okay again, and I can tell you that the moment I mentioned the options we were given, she is going to shut down again. She will be back in shutdown mode completely.
Yeah, exactly, Bob. Capitalism screws the poor.
The poor, the disabled, which which tend to be both, but yeah, she just
Yeah, well, just if you're dealing with a health issue that most of the population doesn't deal with, and since around here we don't have any kind of public health insurance, then yeah, you're going to wind up being poor just by the fact that you have a disability.
yeah. And like she's got full medical coverage in a sense,
Yeah.
but in a sense she doesn't.
Well, it's
Like,
not full medical because what they call full medical anywhere in the US, is
isn't.
still being limited by the insurance companies.
Yeah, um like the it also depends a lot on if they can link any new diagnoses to her spina bifida.
Hmm.
Like we had to fight for getting her depression taken care of because it's not linked directly to her spina bifida. If
And again,
like
that's screwed up. What should it matter whether or not it's linked to that? If it's a problem that there is a treatment for, shouldn't she be getting the treatment regardless of whether or not it's connected?
she should, but that's not how Medicaid is set up.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's screwed up with a logic that I really can't follow.
Another fun thing that we've been having to fight is anybody who is not her, even though she has a team of doctors, and any doctor or intern or med student can come in and work with her. Like she has an entire team of people where she goes, but if anyone other than who is assigned her primary care doctor writes the script, the insurance says you have to do a copay, which is bullshit.
Yeah. I still find it bizarre that in like 3.5 years, I have yet to actually meet my physician. I have never met the person who writes my prescriptions. I only see the nurse practitioner.
Honestly, that's not as like it shouldn't be that way, but it's pretty damn common. I
Yeah,
barely
well,
saw
I
my
know it's not
doctor.
uncommon, and it's just it bugs me that I've never so much as had a consultation with this person about what they're prescribing for me. Especially since I'm on like 6 different meds, and it's like, shouldn't we be having a discussion about the possibility of interactions?
Yeah. And I've got some friends who have been like, why are they suggesting radiation therapy? And I said, I can't exactly explain it. I get it because I understand. Like right now, I cannot. I know what I've been told and I understand it, but I can't tell other people at this
Yeah.
point because my brain is kind of fried.
Well, and I really miss the pharmacists that we had in New York, because the ones around here seem to be, I guess I have to say, marginally competent, that they can do the routine stuff, but they really don't seem to know a lot about what they're doing. Tree, I think you muted yourself.
No, I did not mute myself, but whatever.
Okay, you were muted. Maybe it happened on my end, but I couldn't hear you for a bit there.
Warning thing that said something about Skype, but I clicked off of it. I have no clue what Skype has to do with StreamYard.
Oh,
I'm gonna dip out of here because I've just been muted and hacking and coughing instead of talking.
Talking. I hope you
yeah,
feel better
yeah.
soon,
You need
Kitty.
some recovery yourself. So
Like,
hope
yeah,
you can get some good rest and hope your body can fix what's going on.
yeah. Thank you. I hope things get better for you, Tria.
They will eventually. I just gotta live through this part.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're here when you feel like talking. I'm sorry we can't do much else.
I hope you
So,
feel better soon, Pirate Kitty.
yeah, we have been discussing that we'll probably be, running another long chat stream for New Year's Eve.
I might be okay to host. I will think about it because, like I said, Christmas
Oh.
Day for me was just.
I was not expecting you to, be here to host anything. I was just, offering that if you want to come in just for some people to
Oh
chat
yeah.
with. And
Oh
like
yeah.
like
I
Mathpig is
knew what you
talking
meant.
about running some games during his part of it.
I think I can. I think that's partially why I'm okay with joining in. Is I'm okay enough for games now, but I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way because it's kind of how I deal with Christmas in general. But even when things are not this bad, but I sat for about 10 minutes in Nacha's stream. Not physically in the stream, but in the side chat. I was in the side chat for about 10 minutes before I couldn't take it and had to turn my computer off. And it has nothing to do with any of y'all. It's just when it comes to Christmas Day, I tend to not be able to socialize. Even if somebody is my best friend and meaning to cheer me up, I can't. And I know you understand what I'm saying,
Yeah.
Purple. But I because it's there
I
comes a
get
point where you
days
just
that I
can't do
deal
that.
with anyone beyond my cat.
I couldn't even deal with my cat. That's how bad I was.
Well, yeah, he requires a lot of special needs. Mine's really low maintenance.
Yeah. Although to his credit, after he figured out that I was doing the first couple of hours I was crying, he was hiding under the bed. But then once he realized that was all I was doing, I was just crying, he spent the rest of the day in bed with me. So
Yeah, my guy's good for that. If I lay in bed very much, he's usually up there cuddling with me.
yeah.
And he'll get down and he'll wander around for an hour or so and come back.
Yeah, I think it freaked him out because he'd never seen me quite that bad, so he didn't know how to take it. But once he kind of figured out that all I was gonna do was be in bed, when I got a headache at a certain point in the day, he actually laid on my head and purred to try to get rid of the headache.
Yeah.
So
Back when I lived in St. Paul, I had two cats, Tosh and Molotov. And just one time when I got really sick, Tasha was up there on the bed with me pretty much the whole time. And anytime she had to do anything more than go to the litter box and back, she went and she bossed Molotov that he had to be there and he had to stay with me until she got back. She was going to make sure there was somebody there watching me every minute.
yeah.
So, and with my fiance, Sophia was her medicine kitty. That just anytime anything was at all wrong with her, she was up there laying with her.
Yeah. Yeah, Elmer's definitely a therapy cat. Like, even more so than most kitties.
Yeah.
So, like, I've never had a cat that when I have a headache thinks, oh, I should sit on her head and purr and make the pain go away. Like, I'm sure that there are other cats that do that, but that has not been the kind of cat that we have ever had in our house.
Yeah, I've had cats literally my whole life, so there are all sorts, and that's anyone who starts making generalizations around cats, I feel just does not know cats because their personalities are as unique as people.
Mm-hmm. Like, mine gets angry at you if you don't invite him under the covers. If he's not under the covers and you're not hugging him, he takes personal offense to that. My sister's cat that we had previously to him, if you tried to put her under the covers, she would claw at you. Like, it was not her thing.
Yeah.
She was afraid to go under the covers. She didn't like it. Also, she was very much a just because I'm in the same room with you doesn't mean that I like you kind of a cat. Like, she's very obviously clingy to my little sister, but she, like, would pretend that she wasn't. Elmer doesn't pretend.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't like knocking things down. It seems to freak him out. Like, the only time he knocks something down is if he has the intention of getting it to the floor so he can play with it. I have a little banana figurine that I was given at a Doctor Who festival because one of my nicknames is Banana. And one of my friends gave it to me, and I can't keep it on the shelf. It rhymes with my real life name.
Yeah.
And he'll pull it down and like bat it across the floor because it's fun for him.
Sorry, but now that you've said that, probably every time you come in, I'm going to think of you as a giant banana being chased by a mob of minions.
I walked into that, so.
Yeah, Sammy is so funny because, like, I say he keeps apologizing and he never causes any trouble. It's like what you're saying about knocking things down is he doesn't. And even like when there's something on the table that he wants to play with, he taps on the table until I look at him. So he's like asking permission to get in trouble. It's like, I want to be mischievous now. Is it okay if I knock this off?
Poor baby. No, like, Elmer's not really the knock things off kind of type. I guess you would say it's more the pull them down so he can play with them.
Yeah.
And it's only specific items like that banana. He likes one of my fans for some reason. Like, I have a couple of Japanese fans, and he likes one of them for some reason and keeps pulling it down.
Yeah. Well, that's like while we were doing the marathon stream, I had an orange on the table next to my chair here. Just figuring I'd snack on it at some point. And just the bright color caught his attention, so Sammy was there, and he's like tapping on the table, and I'm like, oh, go ahead. And, and it wasn't until I kind of give him a hand gesture that he pulls the orange off of the table and bats it around on the floor for a while.
The big issue that I have with Elmer, that other than him escaping, did I tell you that in the past month he's made it out of the house twice?
I recall one time you were saying about him being outside.
Yeah. Like he's timed it to where, and I have to make sure that Dad isn't opening the door to the outside. But at night, if I don't pay attention, I've opened the door at the same time as Dad is going to work, and Elmer times it perfectly to get from my bed across the room, out my door, through the house, the front of the house, and out the door.
Yeah, it's a whole obstacle course.
Yeah, and I'm telling you that you have to be pretty damn fast in order to do that. Like, basically, all of a sudden, you see this streak of gray go by, and my cat is black and white.
Yep.
And you just see, this gray go by, and you're like, shit, he made it outside.
Yeah, Hannibal, Sloth Girl's cat is very bitey. She will not tolerate being picked up at all. She was another shelter rescue, and I'm sure she was abused when she was smaller, because it's like, even if you pet her for too long, she's going to turn around and bite you.
Yeah, I don't think Elmer was abused, but I definitely think he was neglected.
Well, if he had a lot of health problems that they didn't understand.
Yeah, well, and also I found out later that the person who had him previously had a lot of health problems herself. Stuff like he never got neutered, and he was 7 years old when I was given him. And honestly, there's no excuse for not neutering. Not in my area. I understand if you live in a rural area and like it costs you money and you have to transport the cat and stuff like that, but where I live, after a certain age, it doesn't really matter your income. After you turn 55, there is a van that will actually come to your house. It's a mobile surgical van, and neuter and spay your pets. I think they do both cats and dogs.
I've heard of services like that.
Yeah, and it's free.
Too bad there isn't one operating by Diana, because that's her problem.
Yeah, her problem is transporting Sylvia.
Yeah, just getting back and forth to the opposite side of town to where they'll do it for a cost she can afford.
Yeah, but in my city, if you're over 55, it's free, and they will come to your house if you do not have transportation. And it's a little, and some people feel like it's cheating, but I think that it's important to get your pets spayed and neutered, because it's actually healthier for them in the long run. But if you can get your hands on one of the capture and release cages, a lot of places, if you just tell them that they're a stray, they won't really question you, and they'll go ahead and spay or neuter the cat.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in areas like mine, where I think we have at least a dozen neighborhood cats right now.
Yeah, in Minnesota, there were several of those trap and release programs.
Well, I wouldn't say we have the worst cat issue ever, but we definitely have a cat problem here.
Well, where I lived in New York, the three of the cats I had there, I got from bringing them in from the feral colony that lived in the park behind us.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what I understood there was an abandoned barn at the far south end of the park that was home to a colony of about 50 feral cats.
Yeesh.
And, well, most of them were ones that, had been abandoned because we had a college prep school, right in that neighborhood. So apparently, quite often it was, that the young people were getting kittens when they were so cute and when they were, there for school. And when they went home, they couldn't take the cats home, so they just let them loose in the park. And apparently that was a fairly common practice with that college.
I kind of have a little bit of a personal rant about that, because it's like, if you know that you can't take care of the cat, I get it. You want to take it off the street. But I have been in the situation where I have friends who have been like, oh, I'm going to take this cat in until I find it a good place, blah, 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 blah. And then they get mad at me because I won't take the cat. Or they get mad at their friends because they won't take the cat. And it's like,
Yep.
I get it to a degree, but at the same token, if you can't take care of it, why'd you bring it in?
Yep. Hey, Dave. Yeah, and if you're taking an animal in, you have to be prepared that you are making a commitment for the lifespan of that animal.
Yeah.
So don't even take a cat or a dog in if you're not prepared to be taking care of them for at least the next 10 years.
Yeah, because like the way I was brought up was like, you don't ever choose the animal over the other humans in the house. But if it comes down to taking care of like the humans in the house or the animal, you choose the humans. But I was also taught that you're basically taking care of another sentient being.
Yeah.
You're responsible for said sentient being.
Well,
it is
and even as far as taking care of the animals over the humans, I always weigh into that. What do they need, and are they capable of doing it themselves?
Yeah.
So most of the time, it's like, yeah, I will address the needs of the cats, unless we're talking about having a small child in the house.
Yeah.
The adults, for the most part, can take care of themselves, and even the teenagers, they're self-sufficient enough.
And I'm just making broad generalizations,
Yeah.
but it was just like, unless you're having to choose between feeding the humans in the house and feeding the animal, in
Yeah.
most cases you treat them as equally as you would any other member of the household.
Yeah.
Like, Elmer is part of my family. Now, if I were in a situation where financially I didn't have enough money to take care of Hufflepuff and Elmer,
Yeah.
I'd have to do something with Elmer. And honestly, I've been researching into places that try to rehome special needs animals, so that if that time comes, I may still have to put him down, but I'm kind of secretly hoping I can find somebody who will take him and has the money to afford it. Although, if we start talking transfusions, I don't know whether or not that's beneficial to him to pass him over to somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously, if he needs that level of care, finding somebody who's willing to do that all the time is going to be very difficult.
I don't think it's going to happen, but I still feel like I should at least look into it, kind of deal. Like, I don't really have a lot of high hopes, but
yeah, well,
but that's the thing is if we get to that stage, that's where I'm like, I have to choose me and the other humans in the house over him.
Yep.
Because I'm not putting us into debt over that.
Yeah. That's, to me, the local animal shelter has been, my pet charity here. And that's one of the things I've got to do tomorrow, is in the back of my car, I've got a a load of cat food and paper towels and cleaning supplies. I'm gonna drop off to the animal shelter.
Yeah, I need to gather up all his old food that he won't eat anymore. It's canned, so it's still, good. Because I haven't opened any of it, but I need to donate that to the animal shelter, or to the vet that originally saw him.
Yeah.
Because they sent a lot of food home with us when we were trying to figure out what the little bugger would actually eat.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, it's turned out that, like I say, this is a small town, so, these places don't get a lot of help. But it's actually turned out at this point that Sloth Girl and I have become their largest non-company donors.
Oh, wow.
Just that, the supplies and that we've been dropping off, and she uses her scraps to make pads to fit the bottoms of the kennels, so
Oh,
that the
that's
animals
sweet.
don't have to be laying on, either the wire grid or on the concrete floor.
Yeah. Um, that might be something I do in the future when I'm practicing knitting. I'm trying to learn knit and crochet, kind of. It's one of those things where I pick it up and start to kind of get it a little bit and then get bored and do something else.
Yeah, Sloth Girl does a lot of that, although she definitely says that she would not be able to teach anyone. But that's pretty much for her. Anytime she's watching TV, she's, usually crocheting something. She did a whole bunch of stuff. She did 2 craft shows just before Christmas. And then like all the extra like hats and scarves and winter wear she's got that, didn't sell at the craft shows, she's donating those to the mission, which is in an alcoholic treatment center.
I did not get any crafting done this year, which kind of bites because my best friend sent me some beautiful cross stitch. And I really need to sit down and finish what I was making for her. But sometimes when you're learning and you don't quite make anything that's necessarily usable, sometimes it's hard to know what to do with those items. Especially with the crochet. With the knitting, I kind of just do scarves and I don't really care how they come out or what they look like. Yeah. The crochet, it's a little bit harder to get away with that.
Well, Sloth Girl said one of the advantages with the crochet is that it's also easy to pull out, so that sometimes she just unravels the stuff to just have the yarn to reuse.
Yeah, because I've done that a few times, is I've forgotten how many rows I was actually doing, and like the scarf started getting wider and wider, and so I was just like, screw it, I'm just going to start over because I can't remember how many rows.
Yeah.
But I've been mostly back in my tatting kick again.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen some of that stuff, and it's like that's such detailed work. I'd get headaches just from the eye strain of trying to do that kind of detail.
Well, it depends on what size you're doing, because you can do tatting with yarn. But it can't be the usual yarn that you use for like crochet and like knitting. But there are crochet threads that are about the size of yarn. And you can do some projects with those. There aren't a lot of patterns for it, but I actually started to learn on size 3 thread. which is like the size of a smaller weight of yard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just watching her, I've seen the basics of it, but I don't really know anything about the process.
Yeah, and the thing is that tatting kind of works itself once you've learned like this how to do the stitches. The thing is that it makes its own form while it's working, which is one of the reasons why I like it, is because it doesn't twist on me nearly as much as crochet or knitting does.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember where I was going with that. Never mind.
That's okay.
Train falls off track.
Yeah, that's all right. Don't think any of us are really working at a high capacity.
I haven't been working at a high capacity for a while. But
Yeah, well, that's and I'm still just kind of trying to hold level here because it's not over for me yet. I've got to get through the second week into January before my family's finished with Christmas.
ew, why?
Because that's the way they do it. And we'll have relatives coming in from out of state until then, and every time we have somebody from out of state, they've got to make a party out of it.
Ew.
So yeah, I've got stuff scheduled the first 2 Saturdays of January. Well, and part of it is that my family has always assembled, or always, yeah, having trouble with my words now, and I haven't even been drinking tonight. They always observe the Epiphany, January 6th, this little Christmas. So there's always been a tradition of another thing of, it had started out when we were growing up that it was just, my mom doing that. There would be one small present for each of the kids then. So my sister carries on that tradition, and also the main part of it is that was always traditionally the day that we took the tree down, and clipping the branches off the tree and throwing them in the fireplace. And you were supposed to clip a branch off the tree and throw it in the fire and like make a wish for the new year. So, and I don't know if this is at all accurate, but the way I was taught it was that the Epiphany was supposed to be, the day that the three magi arrived to see the baby Jesus for the first time.
Yeah. I sort of like, I don't know a lot about it, but I do know that my best friend Capsarfine, she doesn't exactly celebrate Epiphany, but in her house the tree doesn't go down until that day, and for her it's like and it's teasing and in love, but she's like, you cowards taking down your tree after the 25th. You're supposed to leave it up till January 6th. How dare you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
She's really weird. She's not Catholic anymore. She doesn't believe anything. She kind of hates Catholicism in general, but the traditions kind of have a lot of sentimental value for her.
Yeah, my sister is still pretty much into the Catholicism, and it's like I haven't really had any discussions with her about it, but I really can't understand how she can possibly reconcile the beliefs she seems to be carrying on with the reality of her own life. there just seems to be such a huge discrepancy there that I don't know how she can mentally reconcile that.
I don't know either, but my dad's kind of doing the same thing in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Well, I know, from what I know now about your church, that must be extremely difficult for your dad to, remain a member of the church when you're not.
It is, but there are so many other factors more than just me being out.
Oh, yeah. No, I
just-
know there are, but, from what I understand about the Mormon church, just that a family member choosing to leave seems kind of disgraceful in there.
In his eyes, it was already adding to the pile that was already there. Our particular congregation has never been, well, I won't say it's never been kind to our family, but we've had a lot of social struggles due to how my mom was.
Mm-hmm.
Even before I left.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like, what's one more thing? It doesn't really matter, kind of, in a way.
Yeah.
Well,
without going
into a lot of details, because they're not mine to give. Pretty much my childhood consisted of watching my mom go, please do X thing to help or make things better, or to treat my daughter like an actual human being, followed by, we will not do X thing because how dare you even, because it's an inconvenience for us.
Yep.
And we don't care enough. And then mom would say, please do X thing. I'm really begging you to do so. And then they'd say, nope, we're not going to do it. And then she would be like, well, fuck you, basically. I'm going to get this done for her because this is what is best for her. And you're going to figure it out. And since you haven't figured it out, now you have angry me. And then them going, why are you so mad? We don't want to be around you.
Yeah.
And I can hear every person who has dealt with something similar groaning in the background.
Yeah, I can get the pattern.
And to make it matters worse, in the Mormon church, being angry is considered a sin.
Yeah, I picked that up from some of your videos there. That just, and sorry, that's like, it's so hard for me to even process that idea, that just having an emotional reaction can be considered a sin.
Mm-hmm. Just basically, it's the way it's phrased is, and I can't remember the exact scripture, but it's pretty much, contention is of the devil. And the church defines contention as being angry, not getting along with others, criticisms, not forgiving somebody for something that's been done to you.
Yeah, and I can understand that probably the original intent of that was, peace and harmony within the community. But yeah, there's got to be something there for, when people provoke you.
Yeah, like, and like I said, it's not something that's, the concept of asking for things to be done a certain different way because you're disabled, or you have somebody in your care who is disabled and being ignored. That is not a concept that's unique to Mormonism. it's just the attitudes that they had towards it led to my mom being kind of unwelcome in a lot of spaces.
Yeah.
Like basically her entire life in the church was with the exception of the few friends that she had and the few people who actually liked her, was pretty much just being tolerated by everybody around her.
Yeah, and I really don't see a way to put a positive spin on that, but it really comes down to these people being like, how dare you hold us accountable for our own behavior?
Mm-hmm. And also, Hufflepuff was in a lot of ways looked like she wasn't disabled and acted like she wasn't disabled.
Mm-hmm.
She's close. She basically, if you don't know her well enough, you can't tell, essentially, most of the time. And so because you couldn't tell, they just expected her to act like any other child. And when she didn't, they got mad that it was an inconvenience for them.
Yeah, actually there was a conference I used to do that, in 3 consecutive years I ran a workshop on invisible minorities and got into that a lot about, people who are disabled, but you can't tell it just by looking at them.
It was, in her case, it was because she could walk and talk. People
Yeah.
just assumed that she didn't need anything. And while, yes, you should give disabled people room to be independent, you should also be aware of when they actually do need help.
Yeah.
It's and I get it. It's hard to figure that out sometimes when you're not used to it. I totally get that, but at the same time, it was just like, well, why don't you just grow up and be normal, or what they perceived as normal? I don't like the word normal, but I don't know how else to word it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just like, why can't you just be like all of the other kids? It's like, and she has a capacity to learn, but it's not at the same rate or way that other people do.
Yeah.
It was just like, well, she can learn, and it's like not at the way you're demanding or expecting.
Yeah, and right there, you're very much venturing into the whole territory of why I could go on a huge rant about Autism Speaks. That they're expecting people to grow out of it, or that they're going to cure it.
Yeah,
and it doesn't work that way. No, you can teach them how to deal with it. You can help them learn coping mechanisms.
But you really need to be educating people about how to assist the person with autism, not the other way around.
Yeah.
I've already been warned quite a bit, and I don't know, Orla seems to have stepped out, or at least not talking, but Orla's kind of already said, hey, if you're going down this route, these are the things you need to look out for while you're trying to figure them out. I'm nervous about trying to get Hufflepuff a mental diagnosis at this point, not because of who is helping us with it, but because I don't know if that's going to benefit her or just add more to her plate right now. And I have to figure that out with her pretty quickly here.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's a very individual decision, so...
Yeah, and I don't even, like... And the thing is that I am worried because telling her these things, I know I have to tell her these things, but I am worried that if it's done wrong, or if she's not ready for it, she will shut down, and I will wind up having to make decisions for her, and I don't like doing that because it's a major blow to her self-confidence.
Mm-hmm.
But I also can't not do anything either, and if she shuts down,
Yeah.
then
Yeah, things have to be done in a timely manner, and you don't want to push her to be making the decisions before she's ready. But at the same time, if it's let go too long, it creates extra complications.
mm-hmm. And I have no clue how my mom made all of these decisions growing up.
Yeah.
And she had a way better handle on things than I do. Like, she was more of a natural at it. I've kind of had to force myself to learn the skills.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's wonderful that you do so much for your family. It's unfortunate that you've been pushed into the position that you have to be the one responsible for all of that.
Yeah, especially because and also something that kind of hit me about mid-November-ish, and I kind of did bring it up in a couple of places, is I wouldn't change what I'm doing, and I don't necessarily mind that this is the position that I've been put in, but I do resent the fact that I was kind of brought up in the Mormon church, that I was taught that being a homemaker, for lack of a better word, and taking care of somebody else were the only things I was raised to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of stings a little bit. Like,
Well,
I don't think
yeah,
if it
that
was
you
pushed,
weren't
it
really
wouldn't sting.
yeah, you weren't really given much choice or opportunity to do anything else.
Yeah. Like, like I said, I wouldn't trade it, and I wouldn't pass over taking care of Hufflepuff to somebody else. But it's like, I've clawed my way out of Mormonism in almost every other aspect, but that's the one that lingers.
Yeah. Yeah, I look at some of my sisters and brothers, and I honestly think that it is the fact that I'm autistic that the religious doctrine never took with me. I think just, as a child, that's what kind of inoculated me against it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, if Hufflepuff is autistic, that is what has swung her into it. Unfortunately. Which is a really odd thing to think about. For me, I was definitely in, but it basically took a lot of pain and watching. Basically, like, it wasn't any one thing, but watching that cycle of people, of how people dealt with Mom and Hufflepuff, kind of actually pulled me out. In fact, my mom went from being an all-in Mormon to kind of what they call a buffet style Mormon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she still believed and she still took us to church, but if she had an opportunity to miss a church social event, she would choose something else other than that.
Yeah, I may be stepping on a line here because this is just speculation on my part, but I would think that on some level, you had to realize the hypocrisy of them, kind of treating like everyone in the church is supposed to be a family, and yet nobody coming up to help when your sister had these problems.
Oh, yeah, that was one of the things that bugged me. Was people would be like, "Oh, we're a big happy family," and I'm like, but you're not helping, and in fact, you're blatantly ignoring things that can make things easier that are simple, like just simple little things. And a lot of times my mom would, if she was asking something like, mom was anti-latex at parties and events. Hufflepuff never got the latex allergy, but there were other people with spina bifida in our area that did have a latex allergy.
Yeah.
So my mom went to bat to try to get rid of balloons in the chapel. And she started off nice about it and said, hey, balloons kind of make it hard for some people to come in. Is there any other kind of decorations we can do? And, and she started off nice, and they said, no, we're going to do balloons. And she says, well, I can go and buy decorations if it's a budget problem. And I'll even help, she volunteered to, show up and, decorate. She was like, I can do the decorations. I don't mind doing the decorations. I can take over for you if you want. If that's part of the problem too, is that other decorations are harder. And basically they just said, nope, we're doing balloons. And my sister started missing social events because mom didn't want to take the risk of her developing the allergy, because when you have a latex allergy, the most likely reaction you're going to have to it is anaphylaxis.
Yeah. Well, that's the couple I mentioned before with the little girl with the spina bifida. That, she did have the latex reaction as well.
Yeah, and I mean, it was stuff like that, and I was just like, that is so simple. And she offered to, do your work for you. If that was me, I'd have been like, I don't have to do the decorations. Hey, I'm out. Bring whatever you want.
But with some people, they hate the idea that, they were going to do this. So it's like a control issue that if someone else takes it over, somehow they feel that's reflecting badly on them if they let someone else do it. I don't quite get the mindset. I understand it happening. I don't really get it well enough to be able to explain it.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, it was just they hadn't even bought the decorations yet, and mom had said it well enough in advance that things could have been done. And it was just basically a not caring. And I mean, that's an example that I feel safe using, but there were other lots of things that were much less benign that happened.
Yeah.
One day, and this is a story I don't mind telling because I was more involved in that particular story than my sister was. But one day my mom got so pissed off that instead of going to youth conference, my mom, who normally demanded that we go to every single church function we could possibly go to, said, we're going to Disneyland instead of you going to a church function.
Yeah, I remember you telling that one. And that was like, yay, mom.
Yeah. I think I'm going to do a video on that one.
Yep.
Just because, my mom was pissed off. And I was pretty well hated after that weekend, but it was fine because I didn't really like anybody at church at that point anyways. Fortunately, I don't think they took it out on Hufflepuff, but definitely at that point, they were not happy with me. I was not very popular after that weekend. Because, well, I did technically walk all day and all night. and did as much walking as much walking as they did. I did it in regular clothes at Disneyland with food, drink, and water.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I think I need to wind this up here fairly soon
Yeah.
because I'm really supposed to be waking up in about 6 hours to get out and
Ew.
do everything I need to do and get home before it gets dark because the weather's supposed to be turning nasty after it gets dark tomorrow. And for us
Yeah.
up here, dark is at about 4:45 in the evening.
I think for us it's not that much better.
Yeah, you're a
But
little further south, so you probably get a few minutes more, but not a whole lot.
yeah. Although for us, dark just means a little bit chilly right now.
Yeah, well, see,
We
the forecast is calling for rain, which means it's going to rain until a certain point at night where it drops below freezing, and then everything that's wet will be covered with clear ice. So I want to make sure
Ooh.
that the car is parked by then. I don't want to be driving on it after things
Yeah.
start to freeze up.
Yeah, that's understandable.
You know, and like I say, since it's an hour drive just to the Walmart, I've got to be able to get there and get back before it gets dark.
Yeah, and in my case, I'm going to have fun tomorrow because I think I have things that I need to do, and I'm just going to wind up having to stay up, I think. So that's going to be fun for me. Well,
are you sure that's the best thing, that even getting a
I
little
need
nap?
clothes. I need clothes.
Yeah.
And napping sometimes helps, but sometimes makes it worse. That was why I couldn't do anything today, was I only had 2 hours of sleep before I had to get up and do time sheets and like getting Elmer's medication and his food. And
well,
I'm going to be
I know what you mean about the napping sometimes helping and sometimes not, because I'm like that, and if my brain doesn't wind down, the nap doesn't do much.
And
although that's also why I've over the years, developed some meditation and some self-hypnosis that if I can't really nap, at least I can kind of go into a meditative stage that my mind keeps going, but at least my body seems to get some rest.
I need to figure out how to do that around here. Like, because if I try it out in the common areas, I will get interrupted. But if I try to do it in my room, the humans won't interrupt me, but the Elmer cat will.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's part of me, even for sleeping. I have learned that, I developed the ability to filter out the cats. But if anything more than 50 pounds moves in the room, I'm awake. I'm always alert to people entering the room. And I found this out because we had a dog in St. Paul. And when she was smaller, she could jump up on the bed without waking me. And she got up to be 60 pounds. And it was as soon as she got above 50 pounds that I'd be awake the moment she entered the room.
Yeah. In my case tomorrow, I have to determine whether or not I want to be in dressing rooms with a nap or without one. And I'm thinking that if I just stay up and caffeinate myself, I can handle the dressing rooms.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've had to make those decisions too. And honestly, all the other stuff, if I didn't have, the driving back and forth, I probably would just stay up until things opened.
Yeah.
But if I don't get at least a couple hours sleep, I don't think I'll be safe to drive.
That's fair. Even if I were driving right now, I'd probably try to avoid as much of it as possible.
Yeah.
I'm doing okay right now, but I'm still very roller coastery, and there are absolute moments where I can't even really stand up. So, but
Yeah.
I've gotten to a point where my clothes are basically shredding,
And that's
and
what
I
I
need
worry about, that,
replacements.
you're taking care of everyone else, but when you get sick, who takes care of you?
Nobody.
Yeah.
That's actually what's hit me the hardest is like, yeah, I kind of sort of have dad to a degree, but
Yeah.
he's getting older and not dealing with as much, and that's his right. Like,
Yeah.
but when
Well,
things
yeah,
get
that's why
bad,
we
I
have
have
the
nothing.
concept of people retiring, because after a certain age,
Yes.
we expect them to slow down and not be able to do as much.
Yeah, and dad is barreling rather fast to the retirement age.
Yeah.
And he's showing signs of that already. But yeah, it was basically I have that is my one of my biggest fears right now is when dad hits retirement, how bad is it going to be?
Yeah.
Because I honestly, honest to goodness, there is no backup. I have emotional backup. I have plenty of people to talk to and to talk me through things, but physical backup, there is none.
Yeah.
And that is what hit me the hardest this month, was realizing that I was overwhelmed and stressed, and I had nothing.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Okay. Well, you're going to be okay. You get through the next couple of days, figure out where we go from there.
yeah, I'll be fine.
At this point, that's all I'm asking anybody, because I've known too many people that, asking anything beyond surviving through the next week is, too much to really expect them to think about.
Yeah. Right now I'm just thinking one task at a time. I've got to get through the kitchen and get a few things cooked, and then I'll go from there.
Yeah, I've just got to make sure I've got my list made up of everything that I've got to do tomorrow before I shut down, because I know when I wake up,
You won't remember
it's
it?
I'll be able to do things that are pre-programmed. I won't be able to think of anything new.
Okay, that makes sense.
So,
But yeah.
okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I'm gonna disconnect from the YouTube here.
Good night, everybody.
We still got a few people hanging with us, and I know Doc said he went to take his rounds. I don't know if he got back or not.
I'm kind of surprised I brought the whole party down.
No, it's all right. Yeah, we had Critical Cripple and Doc. Actually, may have been about the only ones left still in here. But okay, so we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.
Night.
Bye-bye.